It's okay, Corey. I'm here too.
Well, he's doing the play-by-play, so I got to make sure he's ready to intro.
Yeah, he's way more important than me. I get that.
No, I'm not. All right.
And welcome to another classic game of DeMatha football here on Homecoming as DeMatha prepares to take on their arch rival, the Gonzaga Purple Eagles. We are here at Marvin F. Wilson Stadium at the PG Sports and Learning Complex. My name is Eric Meyer. I'm joined by Corey Puffett and Scott Sicko on the call today. How are you fellas doing? What are you looking to see tonight?
I'm really excited for this game, actually. You know, I've watched a little bit of film of Gonzaga just to prepare for this game. So I'm excited to see what we get to see tonight. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by my students who we are live and they're interrupting me. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
And blame it on the kids. All right. Well, Scott, we called last week's game. We'll get to that in a little bit. We're about to have the national anthem performed by the voice of DeMatha, so we will take a quick pause to let that happen. And as always, thank you to the voices of DeMatha for that wonderful rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. So before that, Scott, we called last week's game a little bit of a disappointment in terms of competition, 42-0 DeMatha win. Expecting a little bit more of a competitive game tonight.
Certainly, yes. I mean, this is obviously a really big rivalry game. Rivalry games are just different. Every time you play a rival, it doesn't matter if what the records are at that point. It's pretty much everything's thrown out the window. Everyone comes to play. This is the game right now. And honestly, as a player, it's always really hard to prepare for because mentally, you start working on this game when you wake up the day of the game, right? You got to keep your emotions in check all day, conserve your energy because it's real easy to get a little too hyped during the day, and it takes it out of you, and you end up showing up a little fatigued for the game.
Yeah, can't have that, especially against a very competitive rival within the WCAC. This is DeMatha's first conference game of the year, in addition to it being homecoming. So we've got a pretty electric crowd, good turnout for both teams. DeMatha's student section is out in force, but Gonzaga has sent a solid contingent of their own students here as a road crowd.
This is, yeah, I mean, again, it's not even just going to be a battle on the field, but it's going to be a battle in the stands a little bit in terms of the emotions, right? Trying to support your team, give them the energy they need, because I guarantee you there's going to be times in this game where, DeMatha is going to get an edge, Zaga might get an edge, and you really need to keep your composure in those moments and feed off the crowd if they're going to be there supporting you.
So DeMatha prepares to take the field. It looks like they are going to be kicking the ball away. So Gonzaga will have the first possession of the game. We've got some notable players to keep our eyes on for. Let's start with the Gonzaga offense. Aiden Conrath, number 7, is their starting quarterback, but they also have Darius Wise Jr. He's their top receiver, number 1. And Conal Brannon is a frequently targeted tight end for them, number 86. So those are the players to watch for early on this drive. And for DeMatha's defense, keep your eyes on Emmett Laws, the defensive end, Dante Jackson, who plays strong safety, and Terry Dorsey, number 14, who plays the stag position, which can you describe what the stag position is?
So some teams, depending on the defense that you play, stag position is kind of that guy. He's going to operate in different parts of the field. He needs to be a bit of a hybrid player, honestly, on defense. Sometimes becoming a defensive lineman, sometimes becoming a linebacker, being able to move around the field and kind of cover different positions where needed and shore up some weaknesses.
So Micah Veilleux kicks it through the end zone as usual. So Gonzaga will start after a touchback. 12 minutes here, fresh clock, first quarter. And we will see what Gonzaga's offense has to say to open this game.
Definitely, weather doesn't seem to be a factor tonight either. No wind to really speak of. I think we're supposed to possibly get some scattered rain here, but we're pretty dry at the moment.
Yeah, had a little bit of rain about an hour before the game, but that seems to have subsided. Right now we've got clear skies here as we get towards the evening portion of the day. Conrath starts under center, turns in play action, looks down the field, and fires deep to Darius Wise Jr. It is incomplete. Good coverage there on the play. We mentioned before the game Darius Wise is their top target, and DeMatha did a good job of taking him away on that first down play.
That was really great coverage. Everyone was short up. No one in the secondary bit on the play action there. Little concerning that DeMatha gave him probably a little bit too much time in the pocket. Right? Can't make that a habit today. We know that they have some good receivers out here. I'm going to be keeping an eye on Brennan too, the tight end.
A little bit of a professional courtesy there.
Well, also DeMatha hasn't faced a big body receiver either, especially like more of a possession receiver.
And he's a very common target in this offense.
So this time DeMatha's front line is able to get home and take down Conrath in the backfield for a sack. So after a little bit too much time in the pocket on first down, DeMatha quickly rectifies that on second down with a sack to set up 3rd and long.
That's so important. Now you set them for 3rd and long. You basically know at this point they got to go to the air. If they're taking a run here, as a defense, you give them that all day. But mentally, it makes it a lot easier to know what play call they're going to have to go with.
So 3rd down and long. Conrath looking down the field, checks it down to Hobson, who is taken down quickly in the, right around the original line of scrimmage for a short gain, if that, and Gonzaga will have to punt. Because that drive was so brief, we didn't have an opportunity to get DeMatha's starters on defense now, so we will do that on the next drive. But for now, looks like the punt unit's coming on. DeMatha will have their own possession here on offense after a quick 3-and-out by Gonzaga. Great job by DeMatha's defense.
That was really excellent. I mean, they're even on third and long there. They're playing cover 2. Defensive backs did a great job of starting off into the back pedal once the ball was snapped. Nothing was going to get behind them.
So the punt is away, and the fair catch is called for and fielded right around the 43-yard line of Gonzaga. So DeMatha will start in plus territory for their first drive after the fair catch by LeVar Keys. So, Corey, we haven't had much time to talk to you because you've been a little busy.
Yes, I have.
So what specifically are you hoping to see from DeMatha's offense here on this first drive?
You know, I'm really excited to see where they pick up from the last couple of games. You know, it's been a little while since they faced a tough defense. You know, obviously we had the really close game against Roman Catholic 3 weeks ago, but we're coming off of, I believe it was a 42-3 and then a 42-0 win. So we haven't really been tested. Our offense hasn't really been tested by a strong defense recently. So I'm excited to see how they utilize the short passing game and how they use all 3 of their running backs.
So the first play of the game, Gardner play action pass, and it is caught. A little bit of a scrum there, but a nice gain on first down. Looks like across the 30-yard line for DeMatha first down.
I think that was Cody Williams, number 2 on the outside with that reception. It was a really good play action. It had me fooled.
As a player, you love those plays in a big game like this. Something quick, right? Short route. It's something that's difficult as a player to mess up or to get too nervous about, right? It's something you run in practice a couple thousand times, and it gives you that momentum, right? Get you off on a good start.
It's a great game opener for sure.
So DeMatha now has the ball at the 30-yard line. 1st and 10. Gardner will reverse sweep and hand off to Coombs up the middle, and he is able to pick up maybe a couple of yards, but not a whole lot going there for him.
DeMatha had a lot of motion there on the line of scrimmage. Started with a compact formation and spread everything out, and then they bring Cody Williams in motion across the formation. Maybe a little bit too much there for DeMatha, and Gonzaga was able to stick with it up the gut.
And sometimes, honestly, with those jump formations where you jump out to a different formation, it's almost more of a benefit for the coach. You get to see how the defense adjusts in the moment, see how they're going to react to any big changes.
So empty backfield here on second down. Quick completion to Emmanuel Dyson for about a 4-yard pickup to set up a 3rd and short. And we'll take this opportunity to introduce our DeMatha's offensive starters here. And they should be popping up on the screen right now. So it'll be 3rd and 4 next time DeMatha takes their snap, which should be momentarily. Once again, an empty backfield for Gardner. Gardner takes off and runs for a QB draw. He steamrolls a defensive back to bust forward for a first down. What a run by Denzel Gardner.
It's one of those plays that makes you a little bit nervous, but at the same time, you love a guy who doesn't shy away from contact.
Definitely didn't shy away from it there.
He initiated it.
I'm even willing to bet the coach called that after seeing that jump formation. When you saw them empty out the backfield in that jump formation, you saw that they took a bunch of guys out of the box. They're dropping in 2 deep coverage, and they're playing those safeties off a decent amount with not many linebackers in the box, which gives them the opportunity for the quarterback draw.
So first down and 10 from inside the 15-yard line. Gardner takes a snap once again, hands it off, and Coombs is able to rumble his way forward for about a 7 or 8 yard gain. Better run that time. His first carry only a couple of yards, but this time a much better run to set up a 2nd and short.
What I really like to see there, too, is you can see Bud Coombs is really protecting that football on his way through the line. That's going to be huge for this game.
Yeah.
If they can avoid turnovers, that's going to be something that they're going to be able to take home to the bank.
And that has been a bit of an issue for Coombs this season, so definitely good to see him having 2 hands on the ball.
Another handoff to Coombs up the middle, and he is able to get inside the 5-yard line thereabouts.
Looks like enough for a first down
so
initially.
That should move the chains. And so it'll be 1st and goal. So DeMatha will have an early opportunity to get a touchdown on the board here. Just 7:25 into the game, and it's 1st and goal from around the 2-yard line.
This is a play right here where you hope they give it to Bud. He's done a lot of really hard work here on these past 2 plays. You hope he ends up getting in the end zone.
That looked like movement early, so that'll set DeMatha back 5 yards. It'll be about 1st and goal from the 7 now, which hate to see that after you had an opportunity to maybe ram it through on 1st and goal from the 2. Now it becomes a little bit more complicated moving it back to the 7 or 8-yard line.
DeMatha has a strong enough passing game, and it does provide some more optionality too, though. Well, at least it's 1st down. They still have plenty of downs to work with. At this point, it's keeping the mental edge, right? They got to mentally not let that affect them. Stay in the game, stay focused.
So Corey once again is handling producer duties. Gardner hands it off to Coombs up the middle again, and he's able to fight his way down to about the 4-yard line. So 2nd and goal coming up from the 4. Seems like DeMatha is pretty committed to running the football at this point. They've had some success. We'll see if they can pound it in.
It's definitely if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of scenario. The defense here, is in most situations where you're backed up. You're playing man coverage. If you can just chip off a yard or 2 every time you get the ball, this works out great for the offense.
Gardner takes a snap a little bit low, but he's able to take it to the end zone after what looked like a bit of an option play there. And Gardner takes it to the paint for a touchdown. 6:02 to go here in the 1st quarter, and DeMatha's on the board, 6-0. Veyu will come on to attempt the extra point.
That was a great read by Gardner. I'm not sure if that was an option play, but with the fumbled snap, you got to almost make a predetermined decision once that happens, because you can't get your eyes to the read. You worry about securing the football.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm guessing that with Coombs coming up ready to take a handoff, it probably was an option, but agreed. Great decision there by Denzel.
Yeah, especially with the low snap, you definitely don't want to risk any type of issues with the handoff. So smart move to take it to the end zone, and he had the hole. So we have a sideline warning against DeMatha here early. DeMatha had one of these last week, so again, happy with the touchdown. Got to keep your heads, though.
Yeah, they actually received, I think, a penalty last week after they got the warning and then the penalty call on them.
And we have another flag pre-snap here. So it's a false start before the PAT, so that'll move that back 5 yards. Veyu's been very reliable kicking extra points this year, so probably not going to be a bother for him, but still not what you want to see is picking up multiple penalties after you score a touchdown.
Oh,
And the
block
PAT
kick.
is blocked, so it'll stay 6-0 for DeMatha.
and looks like I think that Bud Coombs receiving some treatment on the
Yeah.
on the table there.
Obviously, we hope he's going to be okay. He's been a major part of DeMatha's offense, especially on that first drive here. He's currently on the table. He looks like he's moving around okay, but maybe just needs to get taped up. We're hoping for the best there. We'll keep you updated.
You know, if he does have to miss any time in this game, Elijah Lee and Remy Robinson have both done an excellent job spelling him so far this season. So they'll do fine carrying the load if they need to.
All right, so after a little bit of a disappointing end to an otherwise very successful drive, DeMatha leads 6-0. And after Gonzaga's first offensive drive, we saw the pressure have success. We saw good coverage. What can DeMatha do to continue to rattle this pretty skilled offensive group for Gonzaga?
I mean, for DeMatha, they got to keep doing what they were, right? It's you have to apply pressure to the quarterback when it's a passing down. You cannot let them gain any rhythm. The cover 2 has been working out so far for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to stick to the cover 2. They probably don't want to go man-on-man in a situation like this where you get a big body tight end. You have a couple of receivers that are studs. So just try to hold off that pass for as long as possible and let the defensive line go to work.
So Vayu once again sends it into the end zone for a touchback, and take this opportunity to introduce our DeMatha defensive starters. And they will be showing up on the screen right now.
Yeah, certainly one of the key players for DeMatha on defense is going to be Emmett Laws. He's a Virginia Tech commit, ranked in the top 30 in the state of Maryland, according to 24/7 Sports. You also got Dante Jackson on the back end, and Terry Dorsey, the Stag, is going to move around the formation a lot. You'll see him on your screen, number 14. He's second from the bottom of your screen right now.
So second drive for Gonzaga. It's a handoff up the middle, nothing doing there. It looks like a loss of a couple of yards. DeMatha's front was able to penetrate quickly and stuff that run in the backfield.
And Corey, I want to piggyback off what you were saying. I have Emmett Laws in class, and he is such a great character kid. He's such a strong leader for that defensive line. I love him as a student, and it translates to his character on the field too.
So second down and 11 for the Eagles. Conrad takes the snap. Once again, a handoff. Again, looks a little sloppy with that handoff there, but Hobson was able to move forward for a couple of yards there to set up another third down. DeMatha will try to get their second straight 3-and-out to start this game.
One thing I noticed when I was watching some of the film of Gonzaga's game against Loyola Blakefield is, and obviously the first half, everything that could have gone wrong for Gonzaga did go wrong. They went into halftime down 35-0 and wound up coming back and making it a 29-35 final score. But one of the big weaknesses was their offensive line in that first half. Loyola Blakefield got a lot of pressure, and DeMatha's got a lot of talent to be able to get more pressure on them.
So Conrad drops back, and he's able to step up in the pocket, looking downfield. Not too keen to scramble. He fires towards the sideline, and a big hit there. But the pass was completed to Ryan Thomas, and that's going to move the chains, I believe. I couldn't really tell where he went out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to call here. I think they're ruling it incomplete.
Okay. It looked like the refs were indecisive, but they ultimately rule it incomplete. So that'll bring up fourth down for the Eagles, and they will once again have to punt after another 3-and-out.
I've been surprised so far in the first 2 drives. Something that's really stood out to me is on every play except for these 3rd and longs, Gonzaga's trying to run some type of fake. So the first drive, they ran 2 play actions, didn't work out for them. Last drive, they went with the 2 handoffs, but they were trying to fake the pass afterwards. When you try to do too much in the backfield, it causes timing mistakes, it causes problems, which is allowing the defensive line to get in there.
A very short punt, but takes a Gonzaga bounce, very boldly fielded.
An interesting decision by Terry Dorsey there, or actually it wasn't Dorsey. It looked like Dorsey initially, but that was number 12. So that's
Marquise was the one that picked it up.
Marquise.
So DeMatha will take over at Gonzaga's 40 once again in plus territory. Seems to be a theme from last week as well, where DeMatha's defense holds, pushes the opponent back, and forces a short punt and gets themselves a short field.
This is where it shows that having a kicker can make all the difference in the world. Vayu, touchbacks, both kickoffs, defense does their job, 2 3-and-outs, and you can end up with wonderful starting field position for the offense.
So DeMatha will take the ball at the 40-yard line for their second offensive drive of the night.
And it looks like Coombs is back in for the Stags.
A low snap here. Gardner looking down the
he
field,
has him.
firing, and he's
Oh.
got, man, wide open, but it's overshot.
Oh.
Just a little bit late on the throw there, and that ball is going to fall harmlessly incomplete. But DeMatha definitely had their man and had a little hard time getting out of the soccer net that's hanging out behind the end line. LeVar Keys was the target on the play.
I would go back to that matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Real soon. LeVar Keys, the defensive back, did not bite on the play action. LeVar Keys just outran him. So if that's going to be the case, I'm not sure who that was covering LeVar Keys, but it looks like one of their bigger cornerbacks. He might be more of a short coverage cornerback. He might not be a deep cover.
And LeVar Keys is a big-time playmaker.
So 2nd down and 10. Coombs is able to dodge a tackle in the backfield and rumble forward through about the 39-yard line for a gain of 1. Could have been a 4-yard loss there, but Coombs was able to slip one tackle and get forward to make this a 3rd and 9.
Yeah, good jump cut there by Bud Coombs. But back to LeVar Keys real quick. You know, this is maybe why he would decide to field that punt the way that he did. It's certainly a bold decision, but we've seen him be explosive in just the last few games. He had 3 touchdowns, 2 of which were called back just a couple of weeks ago.
We got flag on the field, false
DeMatha.
start, so that's going to move DeMatha back and create a 3rd and 13 here. DeMatha's promising field position is looking like it might be a moot point if they can't pick this up after missing the big shot play and a short run and now a penalty, and it's going to be 3rd and long.
This is where if you have a good end or a good rush end, which it looks like Terez Davis is going up against, you start to get that tackle trying to get a jump on that end because they're worried about getting that kick slide, especially when they know it's a passing play and they get a little too excited and can jump off sides.
Cody Williams moves in motion. Gardner looking down the field, pump fakes, steps up, and takes off and runs. And he will be able to pick up the 1st down and a little bit more. He goes out of bounds right around the marker, and that's going to be a DeMatha 1st down.
I'm not going to lie. It looked to me like Denzel was looking for an opportunity to climb up through the pocket and find a running lane. I think he looked through his first progression in that read, and then as soon as it wasn't there, he decided the best chance of getting this on a 3rd and more than 10 was going to be to run. Unfortunately, it looks like this play is being called back.
Yes, DeMatha has been called for a hold on the play, so that puts them in more precarious position. Although it was a downfield hold, so it's actually going to be spotted around the 37-yard line. So DeMatha will have a more manageable 3rd down than previous, but you would have loved to have the 1st down there.
Absolutely.
And that's just one of those things that you keep. It's one thing I understand if an offensive lineman is holding on that play, right?
Absolutely.
He's been in the pocket a while.
Yep.
But downfield, you cannot give that penalty away because even if you didn't get the 1st down without the hold, at least it's 4th and short. And with a kicker like Vayu, he might be able to put one through.
Gardner fires over the middle and is complete for a 1st down.
Ooh.
Nice moves there.
I think that was Keys again.
By LeVar Keys to get down to around the 20-yard line. And now the chains will move and the play will stand as far as I can see. No flags, we sure? Okay. DeMatha will take the ball to around the 20-yard line. So a 2nd trip into the red zone in the 1st quarter with 3 minutes to go here for DeMatha as they try to punch in another touchdown here. Seems like the soccer net has been smartly moved away from the end line, so no more getting tangled with that. Got whistles again, so this play is for naught.
It's been a lot of low snaps here for the Stags offense.
Yeah.
So the ruling there is that the snap was low and Gardner went down, so he was ruled down before he was able to make that throw. So that will set DeMatha back a little bit.
That's tough. It looks like Gonzaga's playing, so inside the red zone. They're choosing to go man one high, so they're keeping one safety deep in the zone. Then they're playing man coverage on all the other receivers. With DeMatha's skill set, I think that might be a dangerous move if you're going to start doing it at the 20. You can see they're dropping back into the 2 high formation right now.
There's movement from Gonzaga's defensive front, so that should result in encroachment, and that will get DeMatha that field position they gave up back on that low snap and set up a 2nd and 10.
Smart play call there by the offensive coordinator. That's you hope you guys can hold the water. You haven't used that yet with a hard count. Use the hard count, get back the yards that you lost because of a bad snap, and reset the red zone stand.
So DeMatha will go empty here on 2nd and 10. And here comes the man in motion. Gardner up the middle again for a QB keeper. And he fights his way forward to right around the 15-yard line, so about a 5-yard gain. We'll see where they decide to spot it.
An interesting play call on 2nd and long, but still just trying to get some positive yardage there, I think. And Denzel has shown that he's not afraid of the contact. He can make some moves with his legs. So I'm fine with that decision on 2nd down.
So 3rd down and 5. Gardner steps up in the pocket and is going to take off once again. Takes some contact around the 10-yard line. We'll see where they mark his forward progress there.
Yeah, 10 is where he had to get. It's going to depend on, when he spun around, did he have the ball across the marker? And they're actually taking him almost 2 yards short.
Yeah, ball spotted around the 12-yard line. So DeMatha will have a 4th down decision to make here.
And that's really tough because I feel like that's at least 1 yard in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
he was
spot
at least
was
at the
not
11.
very favorable there. He was definitely contacted around 11, in between the 10 and 11, depending on where the ball was there, but definitely not the 12.
4th and 1 is a much easier decision to go for here. We'll see if DeMatha just goes hard count or if they actually run the play.
So DeMatha currently has the offense on the field. Another snap to Gardner, and he is stuffed at the line of scrimmage, and that is going to be a turnover on downs. Big play for Gonzaga's defense.
Yeah, they brought Remy Robinson in there to block. That play may have been a little telegraphed, in my opinion. It looked pretty obvious that they were the way that they were overloading the left side of the line. It was pretty obvious the ball was going that way.
That's always a tough call because in that situation you have your go-to plays and you hope the defense lines up a certain way, right? You've been prepping that in practice, and if they adjust, that can go wrong. But you're also open as the offensive coordinator. Your defense has been putting 2 3-and-out stands. You're still going to end up with great field position if you can make another 3-and-out stand here. But it's definitely going to be tough. A little momentum going to Gonzaga.
So 1st down handoff, and once again, DeMatha's defense swarms the ball carrier in the backfield, and that's going to set up yet another 2nd down and long. It's been that way pretty much the entire game for Gonzaga here in the 1st quarter.
Honestly, the exchanges between the quarterback and the running back there, they don't look that clean. There's a pause at the point of mesh, which is when the running back meets the quarterback with the ball. We call that the point of mesh. And if you have too much of a delay there, it ruins all the running lanes, and you end up with defenders in the backfield, and you end up with losses just like this.
So 2nd down and long. Play action handoff here, and that is the first time we're going to call Connell Brennan's name. He picks up a decent gain on 2nd down. Dante Jackson makes the tackle, and that will bring us to the end of the 1st quarter.
It's a quick quarter.
Yes, and we will have a longish walk to the other side of the field where Gonzaga will attempt to avoid their 3rd 3-and-out of the game on their 3rd drive.
That was a good play call by Gonzaga, though. With DeMatha playing 2 deep, one of the weaker areas of a 2 deep coverage is going to be the flats. You can run that cornerback off who's supposed to be covering the flats a little bit, give the breathing room to the tight end who's swinging out in the flats on that play, and let him pick up 5-6 yards for you. You could kind of keep chipping away at that for a little while also if DeMatha stays in this cover 2 coverage.
During the quarter break, let's go and talk about the soccer Stags. DeMatha's soccer team in action yesterday evening against John Paul the Great. Got a 2-0 win. So that brings them to 6-4-1 on the season, and a tough WCAC schedule coming up. But honestly, talking to Coach Quinn this week, it sounds like the toughest part of their schedule is behind them. They have high expectations over the next couple of weeks heading into the playoffs. But O'Connell on the 10th, Paul the 6th on the 12th, and McNamara on the 17th, the next 3 games on that schedule.
All right, so we are ready to resume here. 3rd and 5 for Gonzaga.
This is a big 3rd down.
So Brandon goes in motion and hops into the slot, as does Hobson, comes out to the short side of the field. And it's a big sack in the backfield there. DeMatha once again is able to get great pressure, and a big hit on Conrath forces the 3 and out. Emmett Laws with a huge sack, just what DeMatha needed after the turnover on downs to get the momentum back.
There is the Virginia Tech commit.
That's what you need stud players to do. Stud players show up during big points in the game on big plays, and they make stuff happen, and that's exactly what Emmett Laws did there. That was a little bit of a send a message hit too, in my opinion. That wasn't just a normal, I'm going to make a sack here. This is I'm making a statement.
Yep, and the crowd reacted as such. Big oohs and ahs. High snap on the punt, and another very unfortunate punt here. And this time it does not take a favorable bounce for Gonzaga. It kind of sticks flat right around the 15-yard line. So DeMatha will have the ball in the red zone immediately on this drive. That's something you expect to see on a punt.
This is a offensive coordinator's dream right now. This is exactly what you were hoping your defense is going to do all game. This is why you went for it on 4th down last time when it was 4th and 2. Because if your defense is playing this hot, you are okay with taking a little bit of risk here to try to separate yourself points-wise when you know they can step up and give you this type of field position on the change of possession. Gonzaga's coming out in a cover 2. Even though we got trips here towards the actually empty backfield.
So 1st and 10, Gardner empty backfield, fires over the middle and is caught for about a 5-yard pickup before the pass catcher was pushed backwards to Cody Williams right around the 10-yard line. This time they spotted the ball closer to how it should have been the last time, but I'm not bitter. 2nd down and 5 for DeMatha here.
You don't sound bitter at all, Eric.
Actually, more of a generous spot this time. They gave him an extra yard, in my opinion. So it'll be 2nd down and 4 at the 9.
Make-up call. There you go.
Great read by Gardner on that. Cover 2, they're going to have gaps in the coverage. And he's just going to take advantage of them and chip away.
2nd down and 4, Gardner. A little bit of a tough exchange on the handoff there.
And really good penetration by the defense on that play.
So
looking to see who that was that came through for the defense.
It was D.D. Holmes,
number 0.
The standout defensive lineman for Gonzaga.
Who actually came in and caught a touchdown pass 2 weeks ago for Gonzaga.
Yes. Hasn't had the opportunity to do that today, but the Florida State commit certainly makes his presence known. 3rd down and 4. Gardner attempts to take off and run and sneaks out of the tackle. It looked like he was dead to rights in the backfield, but is able to fight his way to around the original line of scrimmage there. And 4th down and 5. You got to figure DeMatha's going to send the field goal unit on the field this time.
Oh, yeah, they're in field goal range. Micah Veyu is reliable. There's not really a decision here. You got to make it a 2-possession game.
I do hope that the offensive learns from this, though. I honestly think Gonzaga is kind of starting to catch on to the run game a little bit here. You've been successful at these short passes, right? 6 yards, 5 yards. Keep taking that. Gonzaga's given them to DeMatha right now. So on the next offensive possession, I'm going to see what the play call kind of sheet is here for DeMatha.
So Veyu on, and we've got a flag again. Looks like some hollering going on from the Gonzaga sidelines. It's going to be another false start on DeMatha. So that's going to move it back 5 yards once again.
Honestly, DeMatha's kind of lucked out on when these calls have been made. They haven't been made in the middle of a drive, really, right? They've been made on a field goal, extra point. This is problematic, though. If this game keeps staying close and it gets down to the wire, if you're on a drive and you start racking up these penalties, it can be problematic.
Gonzaga already blocked 1 extra point tonight.
The kick looked like there's a piece of that one as well, and that kick is no good. So 2 failed special teams attempts for Veyu today. DeMatha has not done a great job of protecting the kicker on these plays, and so a missed field goal and a missed PAT leave the game 6-0.
This game has been all DeMatha defense at this point. The offense, it just, besides that first drive, everything's felt a little off.
Yep.
Timing has been off a little bit in the backfield. The blocking timing has been a little bit off. On their passing plays, they're doing pretty decent, but they're not sticking with them. Yeah. They're going to the run afterwards. And confusion here on the DeMatha defense as they have to call a timeout.
Yeah, and the concern here for DeMatha is going to be that, at least from the little bit that I've been able to watch of Gonzaga this year, they definitely feel like a second-half team. And if DeMatha is not able to get out to more of a lead, then they're going to have to be able to keep pace with whatever Gonzaga comes out with when they make their halftime adjustments.
So DeMatha timeout, 8:49 to go here in the second quarter. Ball spotted at the Gonzaga 20-yard line. This is Gonzaga's fourth drive. We'll see if they can get anything going this time.
While we're in this timeout, Scott, so as one of the moderators for the SGA, you were very involved in getting the pep rally set up for this year. It's been a long time since DeMatha has had a true pep rally. Can you talk to us a little bit about that process of getting that approved and created?
It was definitely hectic. It was busy, but the administration was amazing and supportive, and the SGA students were incredible too. And I was honored to have Mr. Goggles show up and make
We'll
his
talk
presence
more
known.
about that a little bit later in the broadcast.
So first down carry this time by Cody Hobson. He's able to break a couple of tackles and have one of Gonzaga's best offensive plays, probably their best offensive play of the day, but a 7-yard gain on first down, so it'll be 2nd and 3.
And this is where you get worried, right? Defense has been real good for Gonzaga. Offensive for DeMatha has been slow. You do not want Gonzaga's offense to get a chance to build some rhythm here.
Second down and 3. Conrath fires to the outside, and the ball is dropped by Wise. Unusual to see such a short-handed receiver not be able to haul it in. Ball was maybe a little overthrown, but looked catchable to me.
That was I was a little confused there. It looked like DeMatha was actually playing a cover 3 on 2nd and short.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they were expecting Gonzaga to take a bit of a shot down the field there or not, but when you end up in a cover 3, you're pretty much guaranteeing that you're going to give up that 4-yard pass into the flats.
Right.
So now 3rd down and 3 for the Eagles.
Yeah, we got man coverage now from DeMatha.
Conrath fakes the handoff, checks it down to Brennan again, but he is stacked up and taken down before the line to gain. About maybe a 1-yard gain on the play, but it's going to be 4th down for Gonzaga.
Great pursuit from the defense. You know, first man made contact, but that's usually not going to be enough to take down the big tight end. So everybody else was ready to rush in and help out. You basically had 3 guys taking him down, making sure that he didn't make it to the yard to gain.
Yeah, you read my mind there, Corey. The man coverage too, with the guy moving out of the backfield like that, is extremely difficult. So that coverage was on lock for DeMatha.
So after a brief consultation with their coaches, the offense does come off the field here, and the punt unit is back on the field. This time a more successful kick, and it is fielded at around the 37-yard line and quickly covered up by Gonzaga. Better special teams effort there. LeVar Keys had nowhere to go on that play.
Is this going to be the first time DeMatha starts a drive on their own side of the 50?
That is correct.
Honestly, I hate to say it, as an offensive player, sometimes you need this. You haven't been successful with 2 good field positions. It almost feels like it gives you some breathing room with so much green in front of you. You have more optionality. The defense can't play for the run. They don't know what's coming. It gives you more room to operate as an offensive player.
Now, Scott, in a situation like this, are you trying to get some safe yardage on 1st and 10, or are you taking a shot? Because DeMatha has had a couple of opportunities on deeper plays.
I would be a player's coach. I'd be taking a shot. But
Almost a botched handoff on 1st down, and loss of 2 yards here for DeMatha. So
yeah, DeMatha tried to go with the safe option that time, and it did not work out.
The run game's been a little bit off their timing, it seems. The loss of 2 for DeMatha set up a 2nd and 12 here.
They honestly, they haven't been able to cover LeVar Keys. I wouldn't be above either putting him in a twins formation or just isolating him and letting him go to work. Gonzaga is playing what looks to be too deep here. There will be opportunities.
So 2nd down and 12. Gardner looking down the field, throwing into some traffic, and the ball is broken up. Not quite wide open necessarily on that
That was
play.
a dangerous throw with Braden Duvall with the deep coverage. I mean, exactly what Scott was looking at during the pre-play. That was a cover 2 zone by Gonzaga, and Duvall was right on that along with the cornerback. So double coverage, not a big window to try and fit that ball in.
Yeah, cover 2 you usually want to try to work the center of the field, like mid-range, somewhere around that like 5 to 12 yard mark. Going deep over the top is not exactly your first choice.
So 3rd down and long for DeMatha here. Gardner looking down the sidelines. And it is intercepted as Gardner was hit as he threw. And Gonzaga's got a return here, but he's quickly taken down right around the 23-yard line. And we've got a penalty marker at the end of it all. We'll see what that's about. But a big play for Gonzaga's defense to turn it over and finally get themselves some positive field position.
I think that's going to be taunting or unsportsmanlike conduct on Gonzaga there. The player calling out the 1st down after getting up. Clearly doing it while on the DeMatha sideline. I think the refs don't want this game getting a little too chippy. They know it's a rivalry game. They're going to start to enforce this stuff.
Yeah, it was junior linebacker Aiden Foster with that interception, and as Eric said, Denzel took a shot as he was releasing. That's why the ball just floated out there into the middle of the field where there were no receivers in the area.
So we'll see what the refs have to say about the penalty. We've got an unsportsmanlike conduct call. And yes, it is going against Gonzaga, so that will push them back 15 yards. So they'll have the ball at the DeMatha 39. Still their best field position of the game in the first half so far. But obviously you would prefer with your offense struggling to be a lot closer to pay dirt than they will be now. They're losing, basically 40% of their field position advantage.
I'll be interested to see what Gonzaga does here. They really try to establish the run. I was looking at their breakdown of their run and pass plays over the past 4 games, and they're passing about 53% of the time. So very balanced offense. But from what I've seen, they've been very much more successful in the passing game, and they haven't really used it that much so far today. DeMatha has some really skilled coverage players in the defensive backfield. That's going to make it tough. But Gonzaga also has some skilled weapons on offense if they spread the field. So this might be the time to start trying to push the ball downfield instead of just running it up the gut, because DeMatha has been in control of the trenches so far tonight.
And a lot of times these rivalry games are all about rhythm. And kind of with we've had some odd changes of possession here, and this is definitely leaving the momentum up for grabs between both teams.
So Conrad takes the snap. He rolls out to his right. He fires to his running back, Hobson, who drops the ball, and that's going to be incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, DeMatha had pretty good coverage downfield, so there wasn't a whole lot there to the right side as Conrath rolled out in that direction.
Yeah, and Conrath, honestly, I think he's been hit enough times in the backfield. I'm not sure if he feels exactly comfortable trying to sit in the pocket there. That definitely didn't look like a designed rollout play. He's definitely being aware of how much time he's spending back there because he's not getting a lot of it.
So 2nd down and 10 from the 38-yard line. Hobson in the backfield. Takes the handoff and is swallowed up once again. Emmett Law is there on the tackle to quickly push him back, and now it's going to be 3rd and long once again for this Gonzaga offense.
Yep,
Still hasn't picked up a 1st down yet.
Noah Chambers right there to help out Laws on that tackle. It was great defense.
DeMatha's flashing some confidence, too, in their secondary here. I've seen him playing man coverage a couple times. Basically just straight up challenging Gonzaga to beat him. When you go man coverage, you're telling the other team, I believe we have better athletes than you. I'm okay with going one-on-one, stacking the box more, and getting more pressure on the quarterback.
So 3rd and 13, we'll see what Gonzaga's offense has to say here as they try to avoid yet another 3 and out. Conrad takes a step, quickly pressured, is able to roll out to his right and fires, and the pass is broken up, nearly intercepted on another target to Brannon.
That was Terry Dorsey flashing out there. He's the stag in this defense. They're going to move him all over the place. You always need to be aware of where he is lining up pre-play, and he just flashed right in front of that pass and almost had himself an interception.
They are not letting Gonzaga get comfortable in the pocket at all. They did a good job there. Safety came up, faked the blitz on the backside. We actually brought the linebacker for the blitz. And with defensive linemen breaking through already, it becomes a chase. And as a quarterback, the internal panic button goes off a little bit, and I either go decide whether I want to run or if I want to pass. And as of this point, the Gonzaga quarterback, McGrath, he doesn't look like he wants to run the ball downfield. He's had some openings to actually escape the pocket and gain a couple yards, but he is not. He's not want to take that chance.
So Gonzaga had sent their offense back onto the field. DeMatha quickly called timeout as a result. So DeMatha's down to 1 timeout remaining here in the first half. It's 4th and 13. be kind of shocking to see Gonzaga try to pick this up in this situation, but they also haven't had a whole lot of success with their special teams. Don't feel good about them maybe pinning DeMatha deep, so maybe they think this is their best shot to try to score.
It's interesting because you would feel like after they finally had a successful punt, maybe their punter's feeling a little more confident and could pin them deep. At the same time, DeMatha has, their offense has stalled ever since that first drive. You just had DeMatha basically right here on the field on offense, and you're able to force a turnover, didn't let them go anywhere. So maybe you're feeling like the defense can hold if you don't get this first down, and it's more worth it to try and keep this drive going.
So this now turns into a massive play.
And DeMatha's going to give them 5 yards.
And not what you were hoping to see there.
No, that was Blake Hauser on the defensive end who jumped across the line, and that's going to take 4th and 13 to 4th and 8.
So a little bit more of a manageable down here for Gonzaga. Still a huge play here if they're able to move the chains and maybe push this ball down into the red zone and have an opportunity to score a touchdown. But they've got to get 8 yards here.
Yeah, DeMatha playing cover 2, waiting to see the call here. Trying to add some protection on the front side. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a rollout to the right here.
So Conrath, I had a feeling he was going to try this when he backed up. A little pooch kick. I noticed he took a couple steps further back to be about 8 yards behind the snapper, and I figured there's no way they're going to run a play with that type of formation.
The Sammy Boss special right there.
That's a good call. I mean, they've been having trouble in terms of having their punter kind of control his kicks. The snaps have been a little off, and clearly a little unexpected by the DeMatha defense, but this is by far the toughest field position DeMatha's offense has had all game.
Yes, DeMatha will start inside their own 15-yard line, something that they've been much more accustomed to starting on the plus side of the field the last several weeks that they've played.
The name of the game here is going to be ball protection. DeMatha is bringing in Elijah Lee at running back right now, number 21. I like that decision to bring him in as well.
Yeah,
and Remy Robinson is there sort of as a fullback.
Another flag on the field. Looks like encroachment against Gonzaga, so that's going to give DeMatha a free 5 yards. Yeah, bringing in Lee, Coombs has been fantastic all season, but has had some ball security issues, so it makes sense in a situation where maybe you want to put together a lengthy drive and not have to worry about, the big negative play happening to have somebody with a little bit more sure hands.
On top of that, this is DeMatha's, 4th offensive possession now of the game, and Coombs has been on the field for, I think, every single offensive snap so far. So it's about time for him to get a little bit of a breather.
He's been running hard, too. Gardner takes the snap, hands it off to Lee, and he picks up maybe 5 yards, or no, they already had the 5 yards.
Right,
so,
yeah, so maybe a yard at most.
I didn't think it looked like a big gain, but so about maybe a 1 yard gain here to set up a 2nd and 4.
I'm really hoping that DeMatha takes a shot here. Last 2 plays, Gonzaga's been lining up in a man coverage formation, and unfortunately, I don't think Gonzaga's secondary can match up one-on-one with our wide receivers. So let me see. Yep.
Yeah, Cody Williams has speed. LeVar Keys has incredible speed.
They're definitely coming out again, and it's more of a man coverage.
So 2nd down and 4, and a quick throw to LeVar Keys, who gets upfield and is able to get to around the 43-yard line for a DeMatha first down. Big play there. After the DeMatha offense has sputtered a little bit, they get a big gain here to move the chains and get the ball towards midfield again.
I'm hoping this opens up the DeMatha offense a little bit more. Give the running backs a bit of a break, right? They're stacking the box against us. They're expecting us to run. If Gonzaga is going to play cover man, like one high man, I would dare say that DeMatha just has better athletes. You can see they come out in a cover 2 here, but even then, I still think there are holes in Gonzaga's coverage that we can exploit for 5-6 yard pickups. Oh nope, they're going one high man again.
So Gardner throws a quick screen pass out into the flat, and another nice catch and run here, but the ball is loose, and Gonzaga looks like they have it. So
it's a series of nice moves by Cody Williams out there, but then he gives it up.
So another unfortunate turnover for DeMatha, just when they looked like they had some momentum going with their own offense to maybe try to get another score before the half. We also have a man a little shaken getting off the field, and so we'll have a brief injury timeout.
That looks like number 54, which would be Zach Richards, if I'm seeing his number correctly. or maybe it's 57, which would be Joe Wills.
Looks like he might have taken a shot to the back there, which is
Yeah.
never very comfortable.
So while our training staff, Wendy Norris is heading out there, Scott, we can come back to the pep rally a little bit. And so the first event was a arm wrestling match between you and our assistant athletic director, also one of our lacrosse coaches, Phil Lipka. And you won that match.
I did. I was a bit surprised. I wore my Superman gear, trying to give me the strength. The crowd was cheering me on.
I was surprised. You know, I figured you might go with the button down over the Superman shirt, and when you won, then just rip it off and go crazy. But you had the Superman shirt from the start. You were confident.
I needed it from the start. I definitely did. And then the second match was a surprise match. Definitely not planned. Mr. Goggles showed up, and if you don't know who that is, that's a legend at DeMatha.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of getting crowds all hyped up for DeMatha sporting events, everything like that. And I thought I had him too. I was getting over the top on him, and then he pulled what I was concerned he was going to pull. He got the crowd really riled up, and he just drew on that strength.
To be fair, you were a little bit tired because initially you had to fight against Mr. Goggles and Mark Goodson.
Yeah, and I what's funny is I had both of them, right? I had both of them. They weren't going to take me down. Once Goodson let go, the crowd started to cheer a little bit more, and all of a sudden I just felt Mr. Goggles get stronger and stronger and stronger. He ended up, honestly, I'm just glad I didn't get injured. He threw me out of the chair, fully tipped over.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, he flipped the table too. I was happy that I walked away without any injuries. I'm hoping I don't wake up too sore tomorrow morning.
I was getting ready to teach my American literature class, and I share a classroom with Pat Smith, who shares a little bit of a resemblance with Mr. Goggles, so I mistakenly congratulated him on the victory. He was quick to point out, no, that was not me.
Yeah.
I would love to take credit for beating Scott Sicko in an arm wrestling match, but that was all Mr. Goggles.
He's Mr. Smith is just he's our point of contact for Mr. Goggles.
Yes.
That's the only way I reached out through Mr. Smith, and
I'm pretty sure he's the only person who knows Mr. Goggles' true identity.
Agreed. But Mr. Smith said he wasn't even sure he was going to show up. So when he did, I couldn't believe it.
So Anthony Chuman was the down DeMatha Stag. He was able to walk off the field with some assistance, walking off very gingerly. Obviously, we hope for the best there as he takes a seat on the bench.
Anthony Chuman is actually one of our video broadcast journalism students, so obviously can't ever work these games because he's in the game, but definitely best wishes to him.
So
Great
Conrad
kid.
takes a shot downfield, and it's just outside the reach of his intended target. That was Lincoln Fisher, the target down the field. Not quite able to connect with him, but Gonzaga may be feeling a little bit of pressure to get some points on the board after their defense has made a stand. They decided to take a shot play and almost are able to hit it.
Yeah, they definitely caught the defender a little flat-footed there. He had the position. Honestly, I think the only mistake the receiver made there was he was tracking the ball a little bit too much mid-flight. If you start tracking it mid-flight and you see you're behind it, you kind of got to give up tracking it to gain that speed back that you normally would have with a straight line run, and then reassess when you're closer to the catch.
So 2nd down and 10 from Gonzaga zone 43 is a handoff up the middle for a modest gain, about 4 or 5 yards here to set up a 3rd down. And Gonzaga will have, I believe, their 5th opportunity now to try to pick up their first offensive 1st down.
And I just want to clarify, I'm as of this moment, I'm getting text messages. It's Goggle Man. It's not Mr. Goggles.
Goggle Man.
I need to make the correction because I'm gonna catch some heat on Tuesday back at school if I don't make that correction. Shout out to Matt Bickle for that one.
All right, so 3rd and 5. Conrath looks over the middle and throws to what maybe was a miscommunication there. It looks like Samuel Terry.
It looked like Brandon was in the area there, but it was just a big mass of bodies.
Yep.
I don't think Brandon ever got his eyes on the ball. I don't know what that play was.
It was hard for me to tell who the target was because like the closest receiver was Terry, but he was not close. So definitely looked like a failed tight end action, and Gonzaga will send the punting unit onto the field.
This is going to be a big possession here for coming up for DeMatha. I think they've clearly understand now that they have the advantage on passing downs, on passing plays, and We got to wait. We got to wait and see what they get after here, because they have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, just shy of that, to drive down the field and try to get some extra points on the board before half.
So LeVar Keys, fair catch called for at the DeMatha 23-yard line. So DeMatha will have 77 yards to march down the field. 1 timeout remaining. So, time not really on their side here, but we've seen the offense be explosive enough at times to be able to put together a quick drive like this.
Yeah, I mean, DeMatha had a really nice play on a slant pass to LeVar Keys on the last drive, got a big gain. Had a good concept on the screen pass to Cody Williams. Unfortunately, he just fumbled the ball after gaining the first down. So we'll see what DeMatha's offense comes out with here, as he got 3 receivers split to the bottom of your screen.
So Gardner nearly throws
pass.
another interception. Looked like a little bit of a miscommunication with his target there.
Justin Wallace on the defense for Gonzaga. Looked like he got his hands on it.
I think he just misread the coverage. They were showing man high, 1 high, and they were actually rolling back into cover 3. When you're looking at man, you're not expecting that flat player to kind of stick around, but in cover 3 there is that flat player, and I think he just made a misread and ended up in a dangerous situation.
So 2nd down and 10 for DeMatha. Gardner. Quick throw, low throw here, but we've got a penalty marker on the field. We might be seeing a roughing the passer penalty here.
Yeah,
Gardner took a big shot.
It looks like Rex Stincombe may have hit him up high around the helmet area.
This is where you need to keep your composure in these games, big rivalry games. You do not want to give up any personal fouls at this point, because, again, free 15 yards for DeMatha on this. It could really set up the drive well to end up in a score here.
It would have been a 3rd and long for DeMatha if not for the penalty, but now they get a free 15 and a first down. So Gonzaga had an opportunity to get a stop, but now it looks like they're going to have to do it all over again, and you certainly don't want to give DeMatha multiple opportunities in this situation with such little time on the clock.
No, and as an offensive player, you love these because it's free yardage. I mean, it's just as good as running a play, right? You got the 15 yards. You're ready to start up all fresh with a first down.
Well, Gardner certainly took one for the team in that regard. So 1st and 10. Play action pass completed for about a 5-yard pickup or so. Tackle was made inbounds, so the clock will run.
Yep, those are the ones that, if we're not backed up here with 2 minutes, that I wouldn't be surprised if DeMatha comes out after halftime and continues to run them. Just chipping away, easy passes, right? Don't make it difficult for your offense to get in a rhythm.
So Brandon Newman was the receiver on that last play. And another flag on what looked like a receiver screen to LeVar Keys.
Miscommunication between the receivers. They didn't know who was supposed to be on the line of scrimmage. Look, LeVar Keys, as the veteran, was trying to compensate and step up because he realized no one was on the line of scrimmage right before the snap. But unfortunately, he stepped up right as the ball was snapped.
So that will give back the 5 yards or so that DeMatha gained. The refs seemed to have a misunderstanding what the penalty was and had moved the ball forward 5 yards.
I'd be okay with that.
Would have been fine with me too, but now they have gotten it corrected and are moving the ball back. Now he's moved the ball too far back, and it's supposed to be 2nd and 10 and not 2nd and 15. So now it looks like we're in the right spot. Okay, 2nd and 10. Glad the ref got his steps in. Happy for him.
Had a foot adjustment there at the end.
So 2nd down and 10 for DeMatha now at the 38-yard line. Gardner fakes the handoff once again. Play action pass and another.
That might be a horse collar.
You might see, DeMatha is going to potentially benefit from yet another personal foul penalty here.
Incredible job by Gardner to keep his feet, though.
I thought for sure he was getting tackled.
Yeah, that was impressive athletic move by Gardner. That's either a horse collar or actually what most people don't realize, you can actually get a face mask call if you grab the back of a helmet.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like he might have gotten inside the back of the helmet or something.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
it's we often think a face mask that's grabbing in the front of the helmet, but if you end up grabbing the side or back or
like
underneath or something like that, you end up with a flag and it's all the same just as a face mask. So, but incredible athletic play by Gardner there just to keep the play alive. And honestly, if he went down with the tackle there, I'm not sure we got that flag. It's
Yeah,
because he stood up that we got the
it made
flag.
it so apparent. Yeah, if
Yeah.
he just goes down, it just looks like a crazy flying tackle.
Yes, exactly.
Instead
Yeah.
of a penalty. So DeMatha will have the ball at Gonzaga's 43-yard line after being handed 30 yards of field position on this drive with roughing the passer penalties.
Yeah, Gonzaga's been DeMatha's best.
That's going to be another false start, though.
Yeah.
DeMatha has certainly had their share of penalties as well.
Honestly, Gonzaga's been DeMatha's best offensive player this drive.
Yeah.
DeMatha just doesn't seem like they can get rhythm going. It's tough. Honestly, we've had a lot of start and stops on this drive. You really can't get a rhythm going when there's a lot of start and stops here. But there's still 1:30 on the clock, and they gotta at least get in field goal range to give Vayu another shot here.
Yeah, it'd be nice to take a bigger than a touchdown lead going into the half.
Yeah, and I feel honestly I feel uncomfortable with just the 6 points. If we had 7, it'd be a bit of a different story. But
yeah, that missed PAT always looms large.
Playing cover 3 here for Gonzaga.
So Gardner takes a snap, moves around in the pocket, and this time is taken down in the backfield for a sack around the 45-yard line. Big loss there on first down to push DeMatha even further back.
This is tough too because all the receivers just ran deep routes, and then now they got to run back, get on the line of scrimmage. You're pretty much stuck in air at this point, hoping that you can get a gain and get out of bounds this next play.
Gardner looking over the middle, throws into traffic, and the ball is broken up after a big hit. Vinny Ortinez was the target on the play, but the linebacker was able to come up and deliver the hit and jar the ball loose. So it'll be 3rd and 22 for DeMatha here. What's in the playbook for a situation like this?
3rd and 22. You are basically saying we don't want to turn over here. Try to do a screen or something easy, possibly get the first downs in some excellent breakout play, but
or via flag.
Or via flag, and let a couple seconds burn off the clock, then punt the ball down so Gonzaga can't make a drive. Yep.
So
screen.
there it is, a screen pass to LeVar Keys, who slips through a little crease there and is able to take it to the Gonzaga 45 to set up a 4th down and 12. DeMatha's punting unit. The offense is currently staying on the field.
Yeah, clock is still running.
So I guess it makes sense in this situation with Gonzaga not having much time. If DeMatha can complete a ball and get in field goal range here.
That was a little early for the snap, though. I'm not sure if I would have taken a snap that early.
There's a flag in the backfield. I imagine that's going to be a hold, but Gardner did not make the line to gain, so this will be a turnover on downs unless this flag is somehow in DeMatha's favor. We've got a chop block, it looks like, and that's going to – I would assume that means that Gonzaga is going to just accept the turnover on downs, but
yeah, you decline the penalty at that point, and you take the ball. Question is, what's happening right now?
So do they add the penalty on after the turnover on downs? That doesn't seem
I
like
wouldn't think so.
It's normally not how it works, but the ball is being spotted at the 44-yard line.
Unless they're going to take it knowing that there's 2 seconds on the clock and the clock's going to run off anyway.
Yeah, but DeMatha's offense is staying on the field, so clearly this is an accepted penalty situation. So
if I'm DeMatha here, I take a timeout, stop the clock, and take a shot at the end zone.
yeah, why not?
All you have to prevent is basically an interception run back for a
that's
touchdown.
why I'm a little surprised Gonzaga didn't just accept or didn't decline the penalty and take the turnover on downs just so that DeMatha wouldn't have a Hail Mary potential here.
I will say, I do know, as a player, you're always hoping that they call for that Hail Mary play. They never do. They're too smart, and they're playing it too well logicked, right? You don't want to give that opportunity of the interception to have something go really wrong.
Yep.
But as a player, you're always keeping your fingers crossed, hoping, just call that timeout, one deep route. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Officials are still discussing down there.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused as to some of the miscommunications here with officials. It's I'm not sure what's happening. I've seen some stuff happen like this before where the officials almost assume the penalty is going to be accepted, so they start to position it like the penalty has been accepted, but they actually haven't consulted with the other team.
Well, it's resulting in a lengthy delay that will probably lead to not a whole lot with only 2 seconds on the clock, so this is probably much ado about nothing, but we will find out what exactly is happening. And it looks like the ball is being moved back.
Yep.
DeMatha or Gonzaga has declined the penalty and will take over on downs at about the same position. DeMatha or Gonzaga's 46. So now, if they wanted to get cute and try a Hail Mary, they could.
Exactly.
We'll see what they decide to do. I'm going to assume it's not a whole lot of anything, but who knows?
They are staying in the huddle over there a little while, so I'm not putting anything past them. I wouldn't be surprised even if the quarterback for Gonzaga doesn't seem to have a super strong arm. So I wouldn't be surprised if you go with a hard count here, see if they jump off sides. If they jump off sides, you're taking the shot. If they don't jump off sides, then hey, run a little screen, maybe just a little run up the middle.
So we will see what Gonzaga's plan here is. So I guess Conrath is on the field. Looks like they're in something of not a whole lot of wide receivers on the field, so it doesn't seem like the plan is to do a whole lot going deep.
No, we got 5 back. They wanted to see what coverage we were going to come out in.
Yeah, you're just going to get a draw here.
Yep.
Hand off to Hobson, who is tackled right around the 49-yard line, and that'll end the first half. DeMatha leading 6-0 in their homecoming game as we head to the break. It's been a little bit of a sloppy half after the initial first drive by DeMatha where they went right down the field. Haven't quite been able to capitalize on good field position and great play from their defense. We'll see what happens in the second half. DeMatha will start with the football. And until then, we will be taking a little bit of a break. And we will see you back in about 10 minutes or so, maybe 15. And we are back here at the PG Sports and Learning Complex where DeMatha is taking on Gonzaga in their homecoming game. Third quarter is getting ready to get underway. DeMatha will receive the ball. They currently lead 6-0. A little bit of a sloppy first half for both teams, but the Stags offense penalty-stricken and had a couple of bad turnovers. What are we hoping to see from them in the second half?
Eric, I think you used the perfect adjective there, sloppy. Right, the first half was real sloppy. Second half, we really got to see DeMatha clean up some of their, basically self-enforced errors, offside penalties, holding penalties, stuff like that. The passing game is there for DeMatha if they give Gardner enough time. Gardner, you could see towards the end of the second half there, he was getting nervous in the backfield a little bit, letting the ball fly when he wasn't able to get through a read because he was feeling the pressure coming on him, and put the ball in some precarious situations. Honestly, I would be amazed if Gonzaga goes man coverage at any point in the second half, because when they have, anytime DeMatha's run a pass play against man coverage, they've absolutely exploited the secondary of Gonzaga.
Yeah, I've mentioned that Gonzaga tends to make really good halftime adjustments. They've been a second half team so far this year. So it's a great point. I think that you're going to see a very different defensive game plan for Gonzaga. But to be fair, they had a lot of success stopping DeMatha after that first drive. Certainly DeMatha had a couple of good looks and didn't pay them off. So it'll be interesting to see whether Gonzaga looks at those as DeMatha isn't able to execute on those plays, so we can continue doing what we've been doing and forcing those errors, or if they go ahead and make those adjustments knowing that DeMatha has almost beat them a couple times.
So DeMatha will have the ball here with an opportunity to try to come out and take a two-possession lead, something they've been chasing since their first drive, which would be a big thing for DeMatha, knowing that Gonzaga is a second-half team, to get up and take a little bit of early momentum in the second half. So we are just about ready to get underway here. Gonzaga is set and is kicking it away. A very short kick fielded by the upback, Vinny Ordonez, and he is tackled after running laterally right around the DeMatha 31-yard line. So DeMatha will start with decent field position, but, it hasn't been as good as it always has been, but they've also had some longer fields too, so we'll see what they're able to do their first drive.
That almost looked like a strategy call too, almost like they didn't want to put the hands in the ball in the hands of our receivers on that one.
Right.
The purposeful chip shot kind of get some air under it. Give up the field position. Say, hey, our defense has been playing good the first half. We're okay with DeMatha starting on the 30-yard line. We just don't want them to get a chance to return the ball.
So DeMatha will start this drive, 1st and 10. 3 wide receivers on the field. Remy Robinson going in motion. Gardner hands off to Coombs, who runs off tackle and is able to break outside and pick up about 7-8 yards. Let's see where the ref decides to spot it. Looks like about a 9-yard gain on first down to set up a 2nd and short. Good start to the drive. Those 7 yards were all Bud Coombs on that play. He made a couple people miss, had to bounce the run outside. The receiver tried to hold the block, did the smart thing, right, didn't get a holding call, but wasn't able to get the block for Bud, and he still made the D-back have to work to get him out of bounds.
Bud Coombs had 7 yards on his first carry of the game and hasn't gotten anywhere close to that since, so really good start to the second half. Hopefully they can keep it going.
So 2nd down and 2. Gardner hands off once again, and this time Coombs is unable to get a whole lot going there. Falls forward for maybe a yard, and it'll be the ball's being spotted at the original line of scrimmage, so it'll be a no-gain situation, so a 3rd and 2 coming up for DeMatha.
I know strategically they tell you 2nd and short, go for the run play. I'm always more of a fan of go for the pass play. I always feel like this ends up in a pressure situation when it's 3rd and short here.
So Gardner, after a hard count, looks to the sideline.
They're playing man coverage too against
the snap,
DeMatha.
hands it off, and this time a big run up the middle for Bud Coombs. 1st down carry, able to get to the 2nd level. Couldn't quite slip a tackle, could have been an even bigger game, but he takes it into Gonzaga territory. Ball will be at the 48-yard line.
Yeah, tackler took his shoe off there at the end, and Coombs slamming the ground, upset that he couldn't make that cut and avoid the tackle, but still a great run. Biggest play of the game so far for the Stags.
This looks like a different offense. The timing looks a lot cleaner. Handoff, snap, offensive lineman blocking, everything timing-wise is lining up, which is allowing these holes to form for Bud.
So 1st down and 10. Gardner once again hands it off, and another nice run up the middle as Coombs bulls his way forward to around the 45-yard line for about a 3-yard pickup. Looked like it could have been stopped in the backfield, but once again, Coombs kept the legs moving.
This again, Gonzaga's still playing that man coverage. I'm not going to be surprised here if DeMatha trying to lull Gonzaga into some comfort level of, hey, look, we're running the ball, maybe a little play action, and seeing if Cody Williams or LeVar Keys can't make a play downfield against this man coverage.
So 2nd down and 7. Gardner once again hands it off. Coombs is able to break another tackle in the backfield and dives forward to about the 42-yard line. A flag came out.
It's going to be a holding penalty against DeMatha there.
So DeMatha is likely going to be facing an unpleasant 2nd down situation after that run. So after a few successful runs, a short carry for 3 yards and now a hold has DeMatha backed up. 2nd and 17.
Sometimes that's going to happen in a situation like that where you give the ball to the running back up the middle and he has to break a tackle and then bounce outside. The defense knows where the running back is going, but the offensive line doesn't know, and so that ends up changing the angles, and sometimes you get a hold.
So Elijah Lee will take over in the backfield as Coombs gets a little bit of a rest. Gardner hands it off to Lee this time, and he hits a nice hole there, but is taken down again into Gonzaga territory right around the 49-yard line. We'll see where the refs spot the ball, and it'll set up a 3rd and about 9.
It'll be interesting to see what DeMatha goes with the play call here. 3rd down, I think as a defense, you're kind of expecting a possible pass, right? 3rd and 9. Wonder if they're going to call a play action here or not. Looks like they are shifting into a cover 2, right? So they're trying to protect over the top a little bit more for this deep pass.
Gardner drops back, fires over the middle, and it is caught and taken down right to around the 38-yard line. That's about where the line to gain is. Should be a 1st down for DeMatha, and the chains are, in fact, moving. Vinny Ordonez on the catch, and that'll move the chains.
Great job by Vinny Ordonez there. Knew where the 1st down marker had to get to, got to his spot, found where the opening was in the zone, sat, didn't continue to drift in his route, and Gardner made a perfect read, put the ball right on him, and all Ordonez had to do was fall back just a little bit for that 1st down.
So a fresh set of downs for DeMatha here at the Gonzaga 38-yard line. And Laundry on the field again, false start. Is it possible, it looked like the corner was dropping into that cover 3 again there. Is that possibly throwing the receivers off and maybe getting them to move early?
It might be. I mean, they're definitely playing a man coverage. They weren't rolling into a cover 3 there. They're definitely isolated on the bottom side here. They might be playing some type of split zone with man on the lower side of the field towards the DeMatha sideline. I still think they're in a man coverage, though. They're just not playing a press. So they want that inside safety or inside corner to fade back off to give a little space while the outside corner is going to stay a little tighter on the man.
So 1st down and 15 after the false start penalty. Low snap again. Gardner struggles to handle it, but throws downfield. And the ball was slightly underthrown for LeVar Keys. Still trying to get him on one of these shot plays. Looked like the snap might have thrown off the timing of that play a little bit.
Yeah, and they were rolling back into a cover 3 on that one. It's tough to go deep on a cover 3. You got extra protection over the top for that. Also, that was honestly, that's almost a play where the wide receiver, you need to start to become a defensive back.
Yep.
Double coverage, LeVar Keys with the ball underthrown. He was not the man in the position to make that catch. The defender probably could have if he turned around quick enough. But
apologies, that was Vincent Ordonez on the target on that one. Bud Coombs back in the game. Catches the ball out of the backfield. Tries to make a move, runs into his own man. Now he has to cut it back. And he's able to fall forward for a couple of yards there. Kind of a little bit of a fire drill play there, but modest gain on 2nd down to set up a 3rd and long.
Emmanuel Dyson was out there laying a block on the defender and wound up just getting in the way of Bud Coombs.
So 3rd and 14 here. DeMatha will try to keep their offense on the field, having to pick up another long 3rd down.
Gonzaga going back into that cover 2 for the long 3rd.
So we'll see what DeMatha does. They had success the last time on 3rd and 10.
this is where you could take a shot down the deep middle of the field if it opens up for you.
Gardner steps up in the pocket, is looking downfield, decides to run, and is able to break through a couple of tackles and fall forward for what should be a DeMatha first down.
Gardner dropped his shoulder there at the end of that run to run over that defender. He wanted that first down.
And you got another flag in the backfield. Some frustration.
I think that was Mason Lindsay is showing a little bit of frustration there.
Yep.
I think got another holding call here on DeMatha.
Yep, another hold. Again, extended protection on that play can lead to some offensive linemen having to hold, especially when Gardner decided to run. And so DeMatha will have an even longer way to go on 3rd and 24. And I ask again, what's the play here in this circumstance?
I think at this point again you're looking for maybe it's again another screenplay. That's typically a favorite of offensive coordinators to go to in a situation like this. It's a little safer, right? Worst case scenario, it's going to be dropped for an incompletion. Make sure it's not, a lateral pass. They are playing cover 2. They're pressed up on the outside, on the low side here a little bit. So you could take a shot down the field here. Actually, rolling to cover 3, excuse me.
So Gardner throws that screen pass, and a nice catch and carry to get back into Gonzaga territory, but well short of the line to gain for DeMatha. LeVar Keys with a nice catch and run. The ball will be spotted at the Gonzaga 38-yard line, but the punt unit will have to come on for DeMatha. So after a couple of nice plays, the penalties really caught up to DeMatha there, and they're going to have to punt it away.
Honestly, this has been something I've been pointing out for the past 2 weeks. These penalties are drive killers. You saw DeMatha, like I commented in their first 2 or 3 plays there, the rhythm looked better. They were starting to get a drive put together, and the penalties just crushed them. That destroys your rhythm. Can't get anything moving after that.
So man was coming hard on the punt return, but a nice kick by Vayu to get it down inside the 5-yard line.
Yep.
And we had a situation last week where we saw a gunner potentially carry the ball into the end zone, but that doesn't seem to fly in high school. So ball will be spotted at about the 2-yard line of Gonzaga. So they're backed up, and their offense has struggled all game. This is an opportunity for DeMatha's defense to maybe make a big play here to maybe add some points to the board for DeMatha despite their struggling offense right now.
Agreed. I think I wouldn't be surprised if in high school all you have to do is establish possession to down the ball instead of professionally where if your momentum carries you into the end zone ends up a touchback. But this is a big field position swing here if DeMatha's defense can make a big stand, or even possibly if Gonzaga is bold enough to make a pass play that takes any time to develop, they might be able to get a safety here. We've seen them back teams up pretty close to the goal line before.
So DeMatha's decision to punt pays off because they're able to pin
Going
Gonzaga.
for a run play here.
This is a very heavy box here, so Gonzaga seems to be trying to just play it safe and avoid big plays, but looks like we've got a penalty on the field.
Encroachment on
and
DeMatha.
DeMatha with a big mistake in that situation when Gonzaga's backed up, giving them 5 yards here is more hurtful than most places on the field.
I think we're getting a little conference of the refs here too, because I think they might have seen an offensive lineman move on the low side of the field here. So the refs are going to have a bit of a discussion and try to determine who moved first, I think.
Well, if it's on Gonzaga, the ball's going to move 1 yard. If it's on DeMatha, it's going to move 5. So clearly disproportionate penalty here. We'll see what the refs decide to do. I don't understand why this is a conference. If somebody saw an offensive lineman move, it's a false start.
Well, so as an offensive lineman also, you're at higher levels. Oh, they're waving the flag off.
Okay, so no penalty at all. So we will reset. It'll be 1st and 10 from Gonzaga's own 2-yard line, and they'll leave the big boys on the field.
At higher levels, I know in college they taught our tackles, if a defender makes a step, you get into your kick slide. Right. Because when the defender moves, even if he doesn't cross the line of scrimmage, it can still count as an encroachment penalty. Yeah. So you got to be careful because it can easily look like an offsides when it's not.
So a big pile up here, a little bit of a scrum on that one, and not a whole lot doing for Gonzaga on the ground. Maybe picked up a couple of yards, gives them a little bit more breathing room, but certainly going to have to do better if they're hoping to move the ball down the field and score a touchdown.
Good job by DeMatha defense there. That's not something that they've seen in the past few weeks, right? Really heavy box, heavy line formation, and have to stuff a run. And they don't have the defense out there that's specialized to do that. They're still in their normal kind of coverage defense here.
So more conventional formation with wide receivers on the field here. as Wise comes onto the field, and another handoff, and looks like another kind of a push play to try to gain a couple more yards to set up a 3rd down.
Gonzaga's really got to consider here at this point. You're sitting on about the 5-yard line. Typically, long snappers and punters are standing about 14 yards behind their long snapper. You're getting to a situation where your punter might have his heels 1 yard off the back of the end zone.
And we've seen Gonzaga have some struggles with the snaps on their punts. So in that situation where they're backed up, if it's another long snap, you could be looking at a safety potentially, or the ball going out of the back of the end zone.
Exactly.
The opposite of what Gonzaga wants, especially with an opportunity. If they score a touchdown at some point in this game, they would have the lead as of right now. Giving up 2 points here would be critical for DeMatha. So Conrath drops back, throws it deep down the field, and the pass is we got a flag on the play. Looks like we're going to get a pass interference penalty. Lincoln Fisher was the target, and it is going to go against DeMatha. It was tough to see from me because it happened right by the DeMatha sideline, but
I think we had 2 things. I think the frustrating part about that is the flag was a little late coming in.
Yep.
And also at the same time, though, I understand it. The defender didn't turn his head. He turned his head while the ball was in the air to track it a little bit. But after turning his head to the ball, he returned it to the receiver and stuck his arm up for defense. And at that point, he's no longer playing the ball. He's playing the receiver, which does turn into pass interference if you end up making contact.
Yeah, it's a shame because Dante Jackson had pretty good coverage on the play. Just, sometimes in those situations, I feel like it's the toughest thing to do for a football player is to play the ball there when you don't know what's going on with where the pass is coming from.
Defensive back is an unenviable position, certainly.
Yes. So a quick pass out of the backfield to Hobson, and he's able to push forward to about the 29-yard line. So after a couple of short runs to get out of the shadow of their own end zone and then a big penalty, Gonzaga's had a couple of successful plays lately.
Yeah, this is where DeMatha's defense is. You're hoping you don't start to see any fatigue, right? They've been out in the field for a few plays now, few tough plays, right? The grinding plays up the middle, that takes it out of the defensive lineman. So we're hoping defensive linemen can still get some pressure here in the backfield if they do choose to keep passing.
So we've got this play's being blown dead as well.
Another penalty against DeMatha, it looks like.
So an encroachment against DeMatha, and so that will give Gonzaga a 1st down. It was a 2nd and 2, and they gain 5, so that'll move the chains. The ball will be spotted at around the 33-yard line after the infraction.
This is really what you don't want to see. Even if Gonzaga can't score on this drive, they've definitely changed the field position of the game as long as nothing goes wrong with the punting here.
So DeMatha had hopes of getting a quick 3 and out and potentially getting some field position back, but those plans have gone awry. And now Gonzaga is starting to move the ball a little bit. 1st and 10. Conrath looking down the field. Takes off and runs. We haven't seen him do much of that today, and he is stuck right around the 40-yard line for a decent gain on 1st down.
That's the first time we've seen him actually come out of the backfield and try to make a play there. That was interesting. He doesn't seem to have the most speed as a quarterback, but at the same time, he gets the job done. I mean, when the defenders are playing off that much, the D-line seems like it's struggling to kind of get pressure up the middle on him at this point. I'm not sure if it's because of that fatigue or if the adjustments made by Gonzaga at half.
Brandon going in motion. Conrath on 2nd down, looking down the field. Another shot play to Fisher, and this time another flag. Same target, same play, and not sure about that one. Looked like a better effort by the defensive back to turn his head, but the flag comes out nonetheless.
Agreed. At the end there, the defender did definitely turn his head. He was trying to make a play on the ball. There was a little hands beforehand, so I'm not sure if that's what they're throwing it for, but it looks like they're having a little bit of a conference here to discuss the defender turning his head and whether or not the flag was coming in before that or after that.
So the refs are conferencing, and we are waving off the flag, so DeMatha will have a 3rd down opportunity for their defense to get off the field.
That makes a big difference, right? That defender, and again, this is what we were saying, right? Unenviable position to be in. You're one-on-one deep ball. You got to get your eyes around at some point if you're going to play the ball, if you're making contact with the defender. But once you leave the defender with your eyes, you don't know where he is anymore. But it saves you that flag. Huge play for DeMatha's defense there.
So Lincoln Fisher has been the target on a couple of shot plays. We'll see what Gonzaga does. They've got both Brandon and Wise split out to the right side of the formation here. Those are their big-name targets. Hobson going in motion. He receives the pass out of the backfield.
Great job.
Has a tough time handling it, and DeMatha's penetration gets home and quickly tackles him for a loss of about 4 yards.
That's Terry Dorsey.
Terry Dorsey, the stag, on the play.
Terry Dorsey there. That was a textbook. That's a teachable play, is what we would say. He saw the swing pass coming out of the backfield. He attacked the outside shoulder of the offensive player because he knew he had contained responsibilities. Dipped his shoulder through the block, made it into the backfield, and ended up making that tackle for a loss, which made the decision for Gonzaga to punt here inevitable.
So, punt unit on the field. John Holly, who's been busy and under siege a little bit with some of these snaps, this time gets a perfect snap, and as a result has a more successful punt. The ball hits the turf around the 36-yard line, takes a DeMatha bounce, but a little bit of a dangerous play as one of the Stags got near it as it was sort of tumbling around, but no harm, no foul. DeMatha will take over at the 36-yard line to start their next drive. 1:29 to go here in the third quarter.
Yeah, that was James Pace who was trailing the Gunners, and the ball almost bounced right back into him. Good job to avoid it.
Yeah, that was, and also a lucky play for DeMatha in terms of field position there. That was an opportunity for the field position really to swing. With it not being such a great punt, taking a DeMatha bounce, it's definitely setting them up to start in at least decent field position.
So for those who are tuning in, to let you know, Corey is running around a lot. So we are not snubbing him or stepping on him or not letting him talk. He's just been a little busy.
Not at all.
No, I've been causing problems, making him leave the mic.
So Gardner hands it off on first down, and Coombs is able to break outside for another decent run and picks up about 7 or 8.
Yeah, Stags starting to have a little more success in the running game. Definitely good to see. Bud Coombs able to find some holes, get outside, just make some space for himself to run.
It's going to be about keeping that momentum without penalties. That's the big thing right now for DeMatha. It seems like in the second half they're being more successful on some of these plays, but then the penalties are just throwing a wrench in the momentum.
So we'll see if DeMatha can have a clean series here. 2nd and 4. Gardner hands off once again. This time Coombs runs into his own lineman. Good penetration by Gonzaga there to not let Coombs get loose again. And it'll be 3rd and 4 coming up.
Not exactly what you want to see is when your own offensive tackle is kind of making the tackle in the backfield. Terez Davis not able to get much movement on the line of scrimmage there on his man, and Bud not making a cut off of it and ended up getting tackled there.
So 3rd and 4. Gardner, low snap, quick throw, and we've got a flag on the field. The target was Ordonez on the play. Looked like he turned his head upfield before catching it.
Yeah, a little too much excitement there. He definitely turned his head before he had secured the ball and ended up slipping right through his hands.
I thought he was just trying to follow Michael Irving's instructions and catch with his chest.
So DeMatha will be flagged for holding. The flag came out of the back or the defensive backfield, so kind of an odd place to see the flag thrown. But
yeah, and I'm also surprised. Typically, on a quick pass like that, it's rather unlikely to get a holding call because there's not really a moment where the refs have time to even assess that.
So as of now, it appears that Gonzaga is accepting the penalty, and so that will set up a 3rd and long instead of the incompletion, which would make it 4th down.
We're getting into that awkward part of a game here where it could be the next score is going to win the game.
Yeah, with 37 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter, getting down to crunch time here. Gardner takes the snap, goes downfield, and he is sacked in the backfield for a pretty hefty loss. And so that will set up a 4th and very long, and DeMatha will certainly have to punt. We'll see. They probably won't have to run a play before the end of the quarter, so they might be coming out to start the 4th with the punt unit on the field.
The offensive line's definitely struggling to protect Gardner here. If DeMatha punts, I'd be very surprised. I'm not sure why they're lining up like they're ready to punt here.
It's been a while since DeMatha and Gonzaga have been locked in such a low-scoring game. There was the WCAC championship, I believe it was, like 4 years ago. I think it ended 7-6 or something similar to that in Gonzaga's favor. But since then, the winner has scored at least 20 points in each of the last 5 matchups.
So that ends the third quarter. DeMatha still holding on to their 6-0 lead, prepared to punt the ball away to Gonzaga, who last drive they got a little something going with their offense. First time they've had multiple first downs, but was not able to benefit from that second pass interference penalty. That flag was waved off, and DeMatha was able to get that stop.
Yeah, again, DeMatha kind of hurt themselves, right? It's we've past 3 weeks. Past 2 weeks we've been kind of calling this out of. These are the situations where those holding penalties, those offsides penalties, those encroachment penalties, they're changing the game. DeMatha, we've seen some flashes of momentum, some flashes of good timing out of the blocking in the backfield in terms of the run game. But needless to say, they flash that good timing and a penalty pops up, and it kind of resets them to a third and long or a second and long situation where it limits your play calling ability.
So while we get set up here for the start of the fourth quarter really quickly, let's look at the cross-country team. Coming off of pretty solid last 3 meets. Second place out of 15 at the Chesapeake Invitational. Strong showing at a very competitive RVA Relays. And then the Glory Days Invitational this past week. A stacked field there. Got 8th place. We're at MDXC tomorrow morning. We're sending 2 guys, Saeed Shakur and Chase Lopez, to the Milestat.com invite next week. And then 2 weeks after that is the WCAC Championship.
Thank you, Corey, for the update. DeMatha punts it away.
Gonzaga
ball was fielded with no fair catch, surprisingly, and
it looked like Gonzaga was trying to play for the return on it. The rush was definitely weaker than it has been in the past. Kind of surprised that he didn't make a fair catch on that. The Gunners pretty much had a free run at him.
Yep, so immediately tackled at the Gonzaga 39-yard line. So good field position for Gonzaga to have an opportunity to try to finally get on the board here and make DeMatha sweat a little bit at their homecoming. So, Corey, you had some notes about Gonzaga sometimes using certain kind of Winston in Wildcat formations. We haven't seen any of that today.
No, we haven't. It's interesting. So, Kanoa Winston, actually the cousin of DeMatha alum KJ Winston.
So big play here.
Did the ball come out there? It looked like it might have, but I'm not seeing the officials signaling that way. So just a big loss on the play for Gonzaga, and
we have a Gonzaga player
Yeah,
down
it looks like
too.
Aiden Conrath may be hurt on that play.
Conrath took the sack on that play. It looked like it was a little awkward going down on the play. Obviously, we hope he's okay.
That was the first time I think I've seen him under center, and with a traditional I formation in the backfield. Those plays are tough. If you're going to run a play action off of under center I formation, it takes a lot of time to develop. You're pretty much hoping that the rush is stalled for some reason on that play, and clearly the rush broke through. But hopefully it's just he got dinged up a little bit, maybe a little bit of a twisted ankle or something like that. Nothing too serious.
Well, he's sitting up now. He was lying on his back, but the trainers are looking at one of his lower extremities. So we'll see what's going on with him. Obviously, we wish him the best. But if he can't continue, then we'll see who Gonzaga's backup quarterback is. In the meantime, we can discuss some upcoming broadcasts for DeMatha. Namely, that's not next week, that's 2 weeks from now. October 20th, DeMatha will play St. John's in a WCAC rivalry game. That game will be kicking off at 7, but that game will be broadcast by ESPNU, so we will not have that game.
Yeah, this is our last home game of the season that we are covering on DM Stags TV. So the next time you can catch us will be our All Saints Day Mass on Facebook. That'll be on November 1st. And then our DeMatha basketball team is getting close to their season. They have some scrimmages as well as a road game against Roosevelt to start the season, scheduled for November. You'll probably be able to start catching some home games on DM Stags TV on YouTube starting either late November or early December. But keep an eye out for that. We'll be broadcasting freshman, JV, and varsity games on our YouTube channel.
Wait, Corey, you're telling me right now, I'm just finding this out, that I can't call the ESPNU game?
Unfortunately not. Neither can I.
I need to check my contract. I thought it was in there.
So 2nd and 17.
Let's try and bake that in next year.
Conrath was able to walk off with some assistance, but he is currently out of the game. And so a run up the middle here.
And speaking of Kanoa Winston,
yes.
That is him.
Yep, so first time we've called his name today. After Conrath gets hurt, he comes in. And looks like he's going to man the position for at least this next snap as well.
I'm wondering if this is the change of the game plan here. If he's going to be essentially acting as a running back, spreading out the box.
Yeah, he had one pass attempt last week.
Dropping back to pass here, throws it over the middle. He's got Brennan down the field. Big play for Gonzaga, and Brennan is taken down inside the DeMatha 30-yard line. So a major turn of events after the sack. And so now Gonzaga has a nice drive going on, approaching the red zone, trailing 6 with 10 minutes and 43 seconds to go.
Kind of an awkward throwing motion there. Like, it looks like he's short-arming it.
Agreed.
And yet somehow perfect placement right over the defender's reach.
You read my mind, Corey. The mechanics definitely aren't that of a quarterback, but he put the ball exactly where it needed to be, made the right read, was able to move up in the pocket, did everything else that a quarterback really needs to do, and execute the play. It doesn't matter what it looks like if the play works.
Yep.
You got it to one of Gonzaga's top playmakers, which is obviously what you want to see if you are an Eagles fan. So now Winston, once again, empty backfield, steps up and takes off and runs, which is something we knew he would be likely to do, and has a nice gain on first down for Gonzaga. Momentum feels like it has shifted a little bit in Gonzaga's favor here.
DeMatha is going to have to adjust this game plan. You can see they're splitting the wide receivers out as far as they can to force DeMatha to pull guys out of the box. So you're going to end up with the offensive line blocking the up front four, and it's Winston one-on-one with the linebacker if he can get through the line of scrimmage.
So Winston looked like he had a bit of a hole there, but DeMatha did a good job closing it up pretty quickly for a short gain on that carry to set up a third down. Emmett Laws did a nice job getting off his block and making the play.
Yep, and we got a timeout from DeMatha. I'm willing to bet they're going to be talking about adjustments to this. They're going to have to figure out. I wouldn't be surprised if you see them go into some type of zone coverage, be able to pull a guy back into the box and have at least 2 linebackers in the box. Because when they're spreading them out and they only have 1 linebacker in the box, Gonzaga is definitely taking advantage of that with Winston.
So 9:29 to go here in the fourth quarter. It'll be a third and a couple for Gonzaga when they run their next play. And obviously huge play in this situation. Gonzaga needs a touchdown. Field goal doesn't feel like it's going to do you a ton of good with only about 9 minutes to go. Haven't had a whole lot of offensive success. Feels like they got to cash in now if they want to win this game.
Agreed. I think a touchdown here is going to be huge. I do see them taking the opportunity for the field goal, though, just because DeMatha missed that PAT. 2 field goals can get you a tie, can get you an overtime in this situation. Statistically, if you're going to play by the odds of the game, right, that's what you're going to take in this situation. But it's also high school football. Who knows if that's what they're going to go for.
So Conrad is back on the field. Empty backfield here for the third and short. He takes the snap, fires over the middle, and it is incomplete.
The pass wasn't too bad. It was kind of a sloppy response by the tight end there.
Yeah, Brandon normally is the guy you'd expect to make that catch, but couldn't quite haul it in, so it sets up a fourth down.
He tried to leave his feet to make that catch, and it almost seemed like it should have been more of kind of a slide option to shade in towards the ball instead of actually dive for it, which becomes a much harder catch when you do that.
Would have had a first down had he been able to haul that one in. Instead, now it's a fourth down for Gonzaga. They're leaving the offense on the field.
I'm not sure if they have a kicker that can reach from here, honestly. We've only seen 1 kickoff from them, and it wasn't exactly a deep ball.
So Conrad drops back to throw, and this time the pass is broken up, and there's a flag on the field in the backfield. Tough to see what that one's about, but as it stands right now, it'll be a turnover on downs depending on the marker.
I'll be curious to see this call.
Personal foul. Got a roughing the passer against DeMatha,
that's killer.
Going to extend this drive. It looked like DeMatha had the stop, but the roughing the passer penalty will continue the drive, give Gonzaga not quite 15. It'll be half the distance to the goal. So about a 10 or 11-yard gain, but an automatic first down, which is just a gut punch for this DeMatha defense when it looked like they had gotten a stop.
Yeah, you can feel the shift in the emotion when something like that happens on the field. The entire team's excited, right? Made a big stop on fourth down. All of a sudden, you basically have to restart from ground zero, and now you're trying to make a stop with your heels on the goal line here.
So a little bit of a shift in personnel as some of the wide receivers come off the field for Gonzaga. Conrad takes the snap, quick drop, throws to the corner of the end zone, and it is incomplete.
That's where I was almost hoping for an offensive pass interference on that one.
There's another flag in the backfield here. We'll see what the call is this time. It's another personal foul roughing the passer against DeMatha. So back-to-back plays where DeMatha forces an incompletion, but it's nullified by a roughing the passer penalty.
I will say I think the ref on the outside there needs to keep an eye on that offensive pass interference, because the receiver was getting some pretty serious extension with his arms, and once you straighten out your arms against the defender, they're likely to call that on you as an offensive player. But another bad mistake here by DeMatha. Still first down for Gonzaga.
Yes, now the ball is spotted right around the 5-yard line, so they're inching closer and closer to putting the ball into the end zone and potentially taking the lead here. Conrad takes the snap, another short drop, similar type of play, same target, and the ball falls incomplete once again.
Again, surprised. They could have called offensive pass interference on that. The receiver is getting full extension on his arms against the defender while running the route. Usually, as an offensive player, you enjoy that, right? You're less likely to get pass interference called on you, but you got to be really careful when you're extending your arms entirely out like that, because it becomes really apparent to the refs if they're watching for it.
Well, they seem to want to continue to look to Meadows' way. He's normally listed as a defensive lineman, but they got him lined up out wide trying to run a shot play. But this time they go the opposite side, and the catch is made this time for a touchdown for Gonzaga to tie this game up 6-6 with 8:52 to go in the fourth quarter.
This is where special teams become so crucial. You get to see that this extra PAT here, DeMatha missing it, might be the make or break if Gonzaga can put this through. There's still plenty of time left in the game here, but still, you never like this as a team. You'd rather have a tied game than a down by one game.
Yep. So John Holly will come on for his first PAT or field goal attempt. So we haven't really seen him operate as a place kicker, just on a couple of kickoffs, or one kickoff, and several punts. The kick is up, and it looks like it is good. And what do you know it, Gonzaga has a lead here at DeMatha's homecoming game, 8:52 to go, 7-6 Eagles. And like you said, Scott, some of those mistakes from the first half, the missed PAT, the missed field goal attempt, a lot of the penalties, they've come back to haunt DeMatha, and now they've got to figure something out quick.
Yeah, this is a game where you're hoping this can kind of fuel the fire a little bit for DeMatha. The offense needs to get out there and start taking care of some business. Get rid of the dumb mistakes, right? Get rid of the offsides, get rid of the holding calls. Let a drive occur, right? Don't get in your own way. They have been successful moving the ball when they haven't gotten any penalties, but the penalties end up putting them in situations where you essentially cut out half of your available playbook. When it's 3rd and 13, you're not exactly going to be calling a draw play up the middle and hoping for a first down. It's going to, you put yourself in tough situations, and you end up going to have to give the ball back here and hope for your defense to make a stand after the defense is probably pretty tired right now.
The defense has done a good job holding up. That possession, a couple of huge penalties against them to keep the drive going for Gonzaga to allow them to score that touchdown. We'll see what the offense has to say here, because now they're in a position where you can't just hope the defense bails you out here. You've got to score to get back in front of this game. So it'll be up to Denzel Gardner and the offense to figure something out.
Again, I'm curious to see too if the kicker goes for another chip shot like he did the first kickoff, trying to keep it out of the hands of DeMatha's returners, or if he tries to send it deep.
So we will see how Holly handles the kickoff duty here. And again, it's another short kick. And pretty good coverage there by Gonzaga to take down the receiver for about, take him down right around the 30-yard line. Brandon Newman was the returner there. The ball will be spotted. Let's see where the refs decide to put it. Looks like right at the 30-yard line. So DeMatha will have 70 yards to go if they want to score a touchdown.
Strategically here as a player, you're looking at, you want to piece a solid drive together here. Maybe take some time off the clock. At worst, change the field position for the game. At best, go down, get a score, get back in the lead.
So after a couple of hard counts, Gardner moving around pre-snap. Ball's handed off, and Coombs is swarmed in the backfield, tries to escape, and is taken down for about a 5-yard loss. Gonzaga's defensive front is having a field day in the second half, getting through DeMatha's offensive line.
Yeah, that's not a good look for DeMatha's offensive line there. Pretty sloppy play. Coombs pretty much running for his life there, doing as best as he could to not take a huge loss after he had to give up a little bit of ground to get around some tackles.
So Gardner looking down the field, fires, and LeVar Keys the target, but a lot of good coverage there, and the ball is deflected and knocked out of bounds, so no catch there for Keys, and so it'll be 3rd and long.
There was a bit of a tight window there that he could have squeezed it in for Keys, but that read, he was looking for the flat play there, and he went a little late to Keys on that read. Honestly, it's difficult to go to the flats on the short side of the field like this when you're pushed up against one of the hash marks, so it was a little too crowded for him to make that pass to the flats.
3rd down and 15. Gardner looking over the middle, hits Keys in stride, and he's got room to run, and he's able to get up past the 40-yard line to move the chains. Huge play for DeMatha on 3rd and 15 to keep this drive alive.
That's a huge play right there for 2 reasons. Number one, it establishes some confidence in the offense right after 2 plays that didn't really go anywhere. And the second thing is, if you do have to punt in this situation, there's still enough time left on the clock. You don't have to panic. But that play changed the field position of the game where they could back Gonzaga up here on a punt.
So 1st down and 10 at the 42. Gardner, quick pass to the outside. And a nice gain on 1st down. Big hit, though, over by Gonzaga's sideline. And that's going to be about a 5-yard pickup. We'll see where the ref decides to spot the ball.
Good play call there by DeMatha's offensive coordinator. Again, you have that momentum, right? Take an easy play, take an easy gain. They were in cover 2 there. They were playing off the outside wide receivers a little bit. You have the easy quick pass. Take it, keep that momentum going, establish some confidence in your offense.
So the quick catch by Ordonez sets up a 2nd and 4 here at the 48-yard line. Gardner looking outside. Keys again on the screen, slips through a tackle and is able to get loose. He's got room to run, and he is going to go all the way to the end zone for a touchdown.
There's a flag out on the play. It's a hold downfield on DeMatha.
Unnecessary, too. He didn't need to make that hold for Keys to get in the end zone.
Yeah, you could see the block downfield. There was clearly a hold, but didn't feel necessary. But unfortunately, that's going to take the touchdown off the board. Still a nice play by Keys. We'll see where they end up spotting it after the penalty, because it was well downfield that the hold happened.
Again, mental error. He did not need – there was no reason that hold needed to be made. Keys probably, at worst, if that hold wasn't made, still had a 30-yard gain. At best, Keys had enough room to the sideline that he could have made the defender probably chase and made it into the end zone without the hold.
So after the hold, the ball will be spotted at the Gonzaga 42-yard line. So that's going to be a 1st down for DeMatha, but unfortunate to give up the score. I mean, that's a huge play that could have flipped momentum, but DeMatha's offense will still be on the field with the 1st and 10. There is 6:31 to go here in the 4th quarter.
After a penalty like this, or after a penalty like that, this is where you find out if DeMatha's offense can hold the momentum, right?
Right.
That penalty can easily kill the drive, but depends how they respond right here.
Gardner pump fakes down the field, looking, steps up, rolls out, and is able to slip a tackle and then takes a pretty rough hit right around the 40-yard line, but is able to pick up a few yards.
Yeah, after going with a couple quick hitting screens there to the outside wide receivers, they tried to do a little pump, fake and go. The Gonzaga defenders weren't biting those, so Gardner had to make a play.
So it'll be 2nd and 6. Ball spotted at the Gonzaga 39-yard line. We have now fallen under 6 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. DeMatha has 2 timeouts. Gonzaga has all 3 of theirs.
You don't hate this situation. If they can keep just breaking off little clips here, keep the clock running, it might actually work in DeMatha's favor.
Well, there's a big clip for Bud Coombs.
Awkward tackle.
Yeah, an awkward slide there on his knees there for Bud Coombs, but he looks like he's okay. The ball will be spotted at the 20-yard line, and DeMatha has a big first down to set up a red zone opportunity here.
This is as an offensive player where you start to find out if you have what's deep down inside to make wins happen, right? You're tired, you're fatigued, you've been on the field a little while, but that adrenaline's going to take you into the next possession.
So Coombs once again takes the handoff and has some room to run up the middle, and he is going all the way to the house for a touchdown.
Just ducking and dodging through the line, and it looks like there's going to be an excessive celebration penalty, but DeMatha will take the lead.
So DeMatha takes a 12-7 lead. Presumed penalty is excessive celebration, but the score will hold.
Yeah. The big impact of that penalty, though, is that Gonzaga can enforce it on the extra point attempt, and you figure DeMatha might want to go for 2 here to make it a full 7-point lead. So that could wind up being a huge setback for the Stags.
Yeah, that's again, unnecessary mental error. Bud Coombs, great run. Honestly, he looks like he is tired. He's been carrying this ball a whole lot this game, taking a lot of big hits, carrying a lot of defenders on his back while he's gaining yards. I think he was just overcome by kind of adrenaline and excitement when he got in the end zone there. Ended up spiking the ball into the ground, getting that penalty, but that's where you got to contain that excitement. You have to control those emotions.
So DeMatha's offense is coming onto the field.
I think they're going for 2 here, and they're going to enforce it on the kickoff probably.
Seems like a strange call by Gonzaga, wouldn't you?
Assuming
prefer?
Gonzaga does have the option, which I would think that they do.
Quite honestly, if I'm Gonzaga, I know I need to score anyway. I'd rather take it on the kickoff.
So 2-point attempt, a little throw lofted, and it is caught, I believe.
Good play.
Ref signals touchdown. Huge play for DeMatha to get that 7-point lead. And Emmanuel Dyson did a great job to haul that one in.
Great play call there. Great play execution. Great catch. All around, really good. This is, however, where the penalty is going to come into effect. Yep. Vayu, as an excellent kicker, as good as he is, he's not getting a touchback with a 15-yard penalty. This can, depending on how this field position plays out, this could be exactly what Gonzaga was hoping for. Giving them plenty of time on the clock, 3 timeouts to get downfield and put up another touchdown.
So 5:06 to go here in the fourth quarter. DeMatha's defense will try to make a stand here and help ice this game away after DeMatha takes the lead. They briefly lost it, fell behind 7-6 after Gonzaga finally put together a touchdown drive, but DeMatha quickly answered with a touchdown of their own and was able to make up for that missed PAT by converting the 2-point attempts to make it a 7-point lead.
The best part about a drive like that, too, guys, is it gives your defense time to rest. Stags defense, you could tell they were fatigued by the end of the drive last time when Gonzaga's offense was on the field. You always hope you don't get a quick 3-and-out there because that defense coming back on the field is susceptible to letting up a big play. With that long drive by the offense, they got a good rest on the sideline there.
And it looked like that 3-and-out could have happened, but LeVar Keys with a nice catch and run to convert that 3rd and 15. And then the rest is history. DeMatha was able to drive down the field and score. So, Corey, what are you thinking DeMatha's plan here on defense is? Obviously, you got to get the stop, but you've been kind of gashed by penalties. Does that maybe encourage people to be a little bit less aggressive because you're fearing the flag on certain plays?
Potentially, but as Scott said, defense got a lot of time to rest there, and so you figure that mental errors should be less likely to occur. It's a little hard to get into specifics on what I expect to see from the defense just because I was running around during pretty much the entire last Eagles offensive drive, so I didn't even get to see the touchdown. I was walking back up to the booth. I saw they had 7 points. I was like, oh, well, okay, I guess that happened.
Yes, it did. So the long kickoff attempt forced DeMatha to have not great field position to defend against. 38-yard line is where Gonzaga will start after a pretty nice effort on the kickoff by Vayu to get it to around the 20. But like you said, Scott, when you don't have the luxury of kicking it out of the end zone, you're going to give up good field position. Yep,
and right now Gonzaga's in no rush. Plenty of time, 3 timeouts. They can call the plays they want to here.
Conrath takes the snap and he fires out to
Wise.
I think that's Wise making the catch for a quick hitter. Haven't seen him much. His number hasn't been called a whole lot. Seems like Lincoln Fisher's been the guy they've looked for the big plays, but Wise is sort of he's the go-to number 1, and he's probably going to be leaned on heavily if they want to try to get this touchdown.
Gonzaga here is tighter offensive formations with the receivers, not split them out quite as wide. Probably looking for those short passes.
So second down, Conrath steps up. He's able to escape, and he takes off downfield, and he's going to have a first down and a little bit more. He slides down just shy of the DeMatha 40, so a big gain for him and for Gonzaga to move the chains.
Yeah, Gonzaga is taking advantage of.
And we've got a penalty flag coming out.
Wondering what this flag is going to be, if it's going to be sideline violation or.
Yeah, DeMatha's already had a sideline warning, so a violation will result in an unsportsmanlike penalty here. The refs are having a little conversation.
Yep.
And that's exactly what's happening. The ball's actually only a 5-yard walk-off here.
Sideline violation against DeMatha.
Either way, not great for DeMatha to pick up a penalty on top of the big run, and that'll spot the ball at the 37-yard line of DeMatha as Gonzaga is trying to equalize here. There's 4:26 to go, so plenty of time for Gonzaga. Like you said, Scott, don't have to be in a hurry.
DeMatha is going to have to start bringing some pressure here. The 3-4-man rush is not getting to the quarterback. They have to bring a blitz. They can't just sit back and let him make his reads, because we haven't really seen him run much, but when he does, he picks up decent yardage, and he just picked up a big gain. The penalty obviously doesn't help. That's, in my personal opinion, inexcusable, right? Totally an avoidable penalty. That's even partially kind of on the coaches making sure that the guys stay back.
So 1st and 10, Conrath drops back, looks down the field, taking a shot for Fisher, but he overthrows it, and that's going to be incomplete.
A little bit of a dangerous decision at the end of the play by the DeMatha defender. Thankfully, the ball seemed to be out of reach and uncatchable, because that could have potentially been defensive pass interference with, I don't think it was Dante Jackson who created the late contact. I think it might have been Darrell Carey. It was one of the two of them who just kind of launched into the receiver at the last moment before the ball actually got there, but ball was out of reach anyway.
And Lincoln Fisher has drawn 2 flags, one of which was picked up, but the refs certainly are aware of his speed and the fact that he can draw those penalties down the field. So 2nd down and 10. Conrath fakes the handoff, and he's in trouble in the backfield. He's able to throw it out to the flat to Brennan, but it falls incomplete.
Made a pretty good fake there, too, to make the defender take a hesitation step. Without that, that was going to be a sack.
Yeah, that was making something out of nothing there for him to even have a chance to make a play.
Yeah, DeMatha read that from the get-go. Good job on the defensive line keeping their assignments for contain there.
So 3rd down and 10. DeMatha will call their 2nd time out of the half to talk it over. Obviously, huge play here.
Yeah, this is one of those plays where you don't necessarily want to burn a timeout with 4 minutes left in the 4th quarter, 1-score game, but I think it's a smart call, right? You want to make sure you have a solid defensive setup for this. You're expecting anything. Gonzaga's probably going to be going to the air again, right? DeMatha's going to have to bring pressure, most likely from the backside here, which is going to be the side towards the DeMatha sideline. They don't want to give up a defender on the front side with a right-handed quarterback being able to roll right to the wide side of the field.
While we're in this timeout, we can go ahead and shout out tonight's broadcast staff. other than the three of us on the mic, this is a student-run production. Obviously, I've been jumping off the mic to go and try and help out with a couple of things here and there throughout
you've been getting a lot of running today, too.
throughout the broadcast. Yeah, I have. I won't be doing too much running at the meet tomorrow, hopefully. But want to shout out our producer, Cameron Sharp. Our switchboard operator is Akil Warfield. On the graphics and audio is Mofe Isaac Abiola. Our camera operators, we've had a mixture of Andre Arnold, Don DeRocha, Joel and Jotham Awanoge, Obina Ndolo, and Stephen Watkins. They've been switching around on all the cameras. And then we got some first half stats from Patrick Moran and Caden Walton. We didn't really get a chance to get into those too much today, but still want to shout them out for taking the time to keep those stats for us.
This is one of those plays where, as a player and a coach, you know this might be the game, right? This play might be the game play.
So some confusion here from Gonzaga's offense as Wise and Conrath look to the sidelines, looking a little bit flustered. Conrath takes the snap, looking downfield, has to roll out to his right again, and he fires towards Wise, who is stuck immediately.
He had Wise early too in the play. If he had looked, he wasn't the first read. Obviously, he was later down that read chain, but that was a great play by the defender too to come up, even though he had given up position early.
Yeah, that was Jacob Wallace who speared him at the end of the play. I think some of the confusion there at the beginning of the play may have been Gonzaga was lined up on the hash mark closest to DeMatha sideline. I saw the coaches down there encouraging the guys to get even louder, so they were definitely making some noise, making it a little bit harder for Conrath to hear all the way across the field. His coach is shouting to him.
So obvious go-for-it situation here on 4th down for Gonzaga. It's 4th down and 6. Conrath dropping back. In trouble again. Dropping back even further in his
big sack
at the 45-yard line.
Emmett Laws
coming up big. That is exactly what you want from your leaders. I'm going to take a moment. I'm so proud of that kid. He is one of the best kids I've ever had in class in terms of a character kid. He is absolutely a joy to have, and which you don't get to say that all the time about DeMatha, about football players just in general, but this class of seniors on DeMatha's football team are great guys. I have a lot of them in class.
Yeah, Emmett Laws was relentless with his pursuit of Conrath there as he was dropping back and back and back, trying to make something happen, but he could not get away from Laws. Tremendous athlete, a tremendous football player, making the biggest play of the game for DeMatha as they take over in Gonzaga territory after the huge loss.
I can't tell you how important that play was. It gives the offensive a lot of confidence coming out, momentum. Also, it's a field position change. So at this point, if DeMatha even goes 3 and out here, at least they know they're pinning Gonzaga back towards their own end zone, forcing him to have a long drive.
So Gardner hands off to Coombs, who runs into a pile of humans and picks up maybe a couple of yards on 1st down.
At this point, you are happy to see this clock tick down, right? Yep. DeMatha's in no rush. They can take their time, take a deep breath. Your goal here, it changes in terms of mindset. It's no longer push down the field. It's a move the chains, right? All we got to do is get that 1st down. Every time, that's what you're thinking.
I think that's what Luke Casey, our offensive coordinator, was talking to Denzel about as Denzel came all the way to the sideline, and then Casey told him, take your time getting back to the huddle. No rush.
So Gonzaga has yet to use any of their timeouts. You have to figure they would do so soon, but an incompletion sort of bails them out here. It was a safe-looking throw, but Gardner sort of underthrew it, looking for Dyson in the flat.
Good play call, too, because that's something unexpected by the defense, right? They're expecting a run. That was going to be an easy 3 to 4 yards right there, getting closer to moving the chains. Looks like Gardner just got a little excited. It was a little play action. Probably pulled that ball a little too quick. Didn't give himself some time to raise up to get into proper throwing position and sling it out a little low.
So now it'll be 3rd and 8. 2:16 to go. DeMatha looking for that 1st down to, wouldn't ice the game because Gonzaga's got their timeouts, but it would help a lot. But they opt for a run play here. Coombs bounces to the outside, and the refs are calling him out of bounds, so the clock will stop.
That's tough. You saw Bud trying to fight to stay in bounds there.
Yep.
When you got that much momentum heading out to the side because you had to bounce the run out, you have to stay in bounds, but sometimes your momentum will just carry you.
It looked initially like the ref wanted to wind the clock, but then he opted to signal to stop it.
Again, a little confusion here.
So here comes DeMatha's punt unit after a quick 3 and out. Gonzaga did not use any of their timeouts. DeMatha ran only about 52 seconds off the clock. So Gonzaga will have a chance once again to make this happen. So DeMatha's defense will have to make another stand.
Yeah, a little bit of a missed opportunity there by DeMatha to run a little bit of time off the clock or force Gonzaga to at least take one of their timeouts.
And we've got a whistle stopping play. DeMatha calls their final timeout of the half before the punt.
Timeout.
I'll be interested to see what Gonzaga does on offense when they take over here. It seemed like they really shifted momentum quite a bit. Obviously, you never want to see your quarterback get hurt, but after Conrath initially got hurt and they had to bring Kanoa Winston into the game, they started getting some big gains. They started moving the ball down the field, gaining yardage consistently. Prior to that, they've been losing a lot of yardage. And since Conrath has come back into the game, certainly, they did end up getting a touchdown that one drive, but on the last drive, they couldn't get any movement, and then Conrath ended up taking that huge sack that gave DeMatha excellent field position, is now pinning them back. Be interested to see if they bring Winston in and try to catch DeMatha's defense a little off balance.
That's a great call, Corey. I didn't even think of that, but you're totally right. Honestly, I'd be surprised if they bring Winston back in just for the sole purpose of coaches and players are creatures of habit. They like that feeling of having your quote-unquote starting quarterback back there.
Yeah.
But really they should consider it because the ball was moving against the DeMatha defense when Winston was back there, and he was making some good plays.
All right, so the punt is away.
Good coverage by DeMatha, bad bounce.
Takes a bad bounce, but DeMatha is able to corral it around the 20-yard line. So there'll be an 80-yard requirement for Gonzaga to get this game tied with 1:58 to go. All 3 timeouts in their back pocket. But DeMatha's defense has played well for the most part the entire game.
Time-wise, as an offensive player here coming out for Gonzaga, time-wise, you're pretty comfortable. You got 3 timeouts, 2 minutes. That's plenty of time. You're not running 2-minute drill at this point. You can take a breath in between plays. Hopefully, you're going to have an incompletion or a play that runs out of bounds. But DeMatha's defense got to step up here.
So first down and 10 at the 21-yard line. Conrath drops back, stands in the pocket, fires over the middle, and Wise is crushed.
What
big hit.
A play by Cody Williams hit him with perfect timing as the ball arrived.
Yeah, good job separating him from the ball.
Unbelievable timing, Corey. I couldn't agree more. That was one of those plays of, as a receiver, you really, really want the pass interference, but the ball arrived right as the hit arrived.
Fantastic play there to break up the play and prevent a first down. So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 21. Conrath looking towards the sidelines and has a completion to Lincoln Fisher for about 10 yards. Should be enough for a first down.
Completes the pass to Lincoln Fisher. Daryl Carey with pass coverage on the play.
The ball will be spotted at the 32, so yes, that will move the chains for Gonzaga.
32-yard line, 1st and 10, Gonzaga.
Hobson goes in motion. Conrath looking downfield again, fires over the middle, and it is incomplete.
That was a good throw targeting Samuel Terry Jr. Just a little bit wide, but he had to put it out in front of him because there was really good underneath coverage by the corner.
Conrath is showing some real composure in the pocket, too. The pocket is collapsing in on him, but the offensive linemen are doing a good job of keeping their bodies in between their defenders and the quarterback there. Conrath is quite literally getting bumped into by the offensive lineman and still keeping his eyes downfield.
And Conrath showing good poise here on 2nd and 10. This time
The ball came out.
The ball is loose. DeMatha is rallying towards it.
Fall on it.
Just jump on it, and DeMatha recovers the ball inside the 5-yard line. Had a couple of opportunities just to land on it and a failed attempt to scoop and score, but it will be a turnover. Emmett Loss with the sack.
Yeah, James Pace wound up recovering it after a great hit by Emmett Laws to knock it out.
So
how many times are we going to say Emmett Laws' name tonight for a big play? It's 3 massive plays in this game that have changed momentum, change the game.
And when you're talking about a game that could,
Hey,
I mean,
hold
obviously
on.
DeMatha now is in position where they could extend this lead, but for all intents and purposes, this is a one-score game.
They've actually just signaled it's Gonzaga football. I'm not.
So DeMatha must not have recovered it in bounds.
I'm saying that, yeah. I think what they're saying is it went out of bounds. I think that's a bit of a surprising call. I kind of had my eyes on the sideline. I think DeMatha may have recovered that football.
Yeah, the refs seem to have given Gonzaga the benefit of the doubt. I thought DeMatha had recovered it inbounds.
In any case, it'll be third down in a country mile.
So third down and very, very long.
Yeah. Even though it's third and long, I prefer first down for my offense.
Yeah, I'd rather have the ball here. Obviously, we know DeMatha has had some unfortunate penalties. Obviously, critical to avoid those when you've got everything going for you right now defensively.
Well, you asked Scott how many times are we going to call Emmett Law's name tonight, and I was, my other potential response was we might not get a chance to again because DeMatha is about to take over. Well, now we have another chance. Let's see what Emmett does.
One more time, Emmett. Again, a little nerve-wracking. I never like these situations. A minute 30 left, 3 timeouts for Gonzaga. They still have plenty of time here to actually make a drive if they can gain a few yards here. They're going to go for it on fourth down.
So Conrad drops back, just a quick screen to Hobson, but he is swallowed up pretty quickly. Tries to slip away, but minimal gain, if anything, and the clock runs. Gonzaga's got to take a timeout here.
Great job by the defense to swarm to the ball carrier there. He was really fighting for every yard. He was trying to break those tackles, trying to slip out, because if he could, there was going to be some green in front of him to gain a pretty significant to get a significant gain toward the first down, but really nice job of the defense.
This next play here is the game. This is the ball game, essentially. If Gonzaga picks up the first down, they still have about minute 15 left, 2 timeouts. They don't necessarily need to get out of bounds here. They just need a big gain. For the Stags, they need a solid stop here. I wouldn't be surprised if you see something like a cover 4 over the top, keeping a lot of defenders back, almost like a prevent day, right? Telling the guys don't let anyone get over the top, keeping a 3-man rush even possibly. The defensive line has been able to get a rush on the quarterback here against Gonzaga in the end of the fourth quarter here. So we'll have to see what they decide to go with.
So if I'm reading this correctly, it is going to be fourth and about 33 yards.
It's some pretty impressive math by you, Corey. Yes.
I was going to let Corey cook because there are times when, he's had some flubs on the math department in other media, but he nailed it this time. 4th and 33 coming up.
I mess around on the podcast. I keep it real here.
Yeah, got to. Glad OC isn't texting you telling both of us we're wrong like we were the first week of the season.
He very well could be, and I'm just not even looking at my messages.
Well, don't look. We got to stay focused. Okay, so 4th and 33. Obviously,
DeMatha still going with the 4-man rush here.
Dire situation here for Gonzaga. We'll see what they can try to do. Conrad drops back. He's under pressure, slips out of some tackles, runs into his own man, and now he's taken down
and that
for
will
a
be the
sack.
ball game.
Or maybe not even a sack. Might have been a gain of a yard or two, but nevertheless, he needed about 30 more and didn't get there. So DeMatha will take over on downs inside their own 10. Jordan Williams with the tackle. 1:06 to go. Gonzaga still has 2 timeouts, so theoretically, DeMatha can't necessarily run out the clock, but hard to imagine Gonzaga having a real shot here.
Yeah, this is a situation where you keep the ball on the ground one play. Hopefully what you end up doing is you break off a 3-4 yard gainer. And unlikely, but sometimes other teams decide not to take the timeouts because they'd rather have you not score at the end to separate the game even more. But they are taking the knee here.
So looks like victory formation here for DeMatha. And a quick knee should draw a timeout.
I think
Gardner takes a knee.
Yep, Gonzaga did just take a timeout.
Yep.
So now down to 1:04, so a whopping 2 seconds came off the clock on that play.
Yeah, Gonzaga is going to force DeMatha to run a play and then likely have to kick the field goal. And obviously they've already blocked 1 extra point by Micah Veyu. They either blocked or affected Micah Veyu on the field goal attempt after that and forced a miss. So, they probably like their odds to keep this a 1-score game as long as they can get the ball back.
I'm going to throw out a crazy idea here, fellas. This is something we used to practice at UNH, and I have personally talked to Coach Casey about this, and he loves these types of plays. what we could potentially see happen, DeMatha takes 2 more knees, gets the 4th down. They run the time off the clock that they can. They're going to have about 20 seconds remaining on the clock, right? With 20 seconds remaining on the clock, you can have your quarterback take a snap. The entire offense could hold the defense while the quarterback runs backwards with the ball, killing the 20 seconds, and then essentially make sure you get out of the pocket, throw the ball out of bounds for an incompletion, and then you'd have Gonzaga taking over with maybe at best 2 seconds left. But you saw the Ravens run this play one time in the NFL where they basically purposely took flags all over the field, full holding penalties to burn the clock. So I'm not ruling this out. I know Luke Casey has had this in his brain before. I've talked to him about it. So I would love to see that happen.
Well, I know in the NFL they've banned that, but I probably hasn't made its way down to the high school ranks, so maybe it's an idea. But Bud Coombs might have other ideas.
Might not be necessary.
Yeah, I
Bangs
mean,
it down inside the 5.
If you know Gonzaga is going to take the time out after the knee, you may as well just run the ball.
Exactly.
Coombs has been running very well in this quarter. Slipped through for a touchdown to take the lead earlier in the quarter, so this time gets very close to the end zone.
Yeah, Gonzaga's defense looks a little defeated here too. I think mentally it's hard to stay excited about the prospect of winning when it's 3rd, ball's on about the 2-yard line, 58 seconds left, and you just burned your last time out.
And so best case scenario, Gonzaga is able to stop this next run play and prevent the touchdown and force DeMatha to attempt a field goal or a 4th down try and maybe get the ball back with 10 or so seconds deep in their own territory. So not a whole lot of win probability going their way right now, but DeMatha can seal the deal if they punch it into the end zone here.
Again, if it's that 10-second differential, I'm looking for that holding play.
I want to see it.
I would love to see it. I'm mildly excited to possibly see this play executed.
We'll see what DeMatha has to say here. You got Remy Robinson, the fullback, in as well. So power formation here. 3 wide receivers on the field as well. Got to figure it's a run play. Coombs takes the handoff and is initially stuffed, but fights towards the goal line. And looks like he's tackled a little bit short, right around the 1-yard line. So that'll set up a 4th down and goal from around the 1-yard line, maybe a little inside the 1. 37 seconds left and counting. Unfortunately, we do not have a play clock, or we don't have a play clock available to really give you a good differential.
DeMatha will have to run another play, though.
Absolutely.
They're definitely going to run another play. I wouldn't be surprised if DeMatha is just going to take the delay of game here.
Yeah, take maximum time off the clock.
Yep, take the delay of game. Looks like they're going to run the play without taking the delay of game, but it wouldn't hurt them if they do.
There's the flag for the delay of game. 9 seconds to go. Delay of game on DeMatha will have the ball spotted around the 6.
It's a lot less than the 20 seconds that they would have had to run off.
Yeah.
So we'll see what kind of silliness DeMatha decides to get into, if any, on this play. They've got some choices. They could try to just kick the field goal, but as Corey mentioned, that does come with some risk of a block.
I'm okay with maximum silliness here, I think.
Maximum silliness might be what we get. So Gardner stays on the field.
Sounds like a podcast title.
Hands off once again, so no silliness here, just to run up the middle, and that'll be a turnover on downs, but Gonzaga will take over inside their own 5 with 4 seconds to go. So a little pitchy woo-woo might be the play call for Gonzaga here.
Yep.
This is bringing back flashbacks of WCAC championship maybe 6 years ago. DeMatha returned a touchdown, kickoff for a touchdown late in the game, and then Caleb Williams threw a touchdown pass to win the game for Gonzaga. So I'm a little nervous here.
Yeah, this is, you never like.
Things get weird in WCAC play, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. We're gonna see a prevent D formation here from DeMatha.
All right, so let's get weird and wild here on 1st down. 4 seconds to go, 3 seconds I should say. Conrath standing in his own end zone. Takes the snap. Quick throw over his head, intercepted, and that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. DeMatha will win this football game on their homecoming day and open their WCAC WAC's season play. I am sorry, with a 14-7 win over their arch rivals, the Gonzaga Purple Eagles. And we've got a flag on the play, so great. More stuff to talk about.
Roughing the passer against DeMatha.
So the call is roughing the passer, which gives Gonzaga 15 yards, and since it's a defensive penalty, we will have an untimed play. So, Corey, I don't appreciate you bringing up shenanigans that happened before because they might be afoot yet again.
Like I said, things get weird in WCAC play. So, hopefully that was not a premonition, but can't help when I get flashbacks.
Just stay off of airplanes or bridges or anything like that. If you're having premonitions, don't need a Final Fantasy or what's those movies called? Final Destination. Yeah.
I've never seen any of those movies, so.
I've seen too many of them because they're not very good, but I know what they're about. So first down for Gonzaga, untimed play coming up from the 22-yard line. Conrath drops back, fires similar directions last time, and this time it falls incomplete. Looking for flags anywhere. Nope, don't see him. DeMatha wins 14-7. A nice win for the Stags here. Got interesting late, but they held on to win and are 1-0 in league play.
It's a big win for the Stags. As we talked about coming into the game, one of my concerns for DeMatha was that they hadn't played a close game in 3 weeks, whereas Gonzaga was coming off of a close overtime victory last week against Friendship Collegiate. So, DeMatha had to, roll with the punches today, and they did a good job of handling that. They had a good opening drive, stalled out for a while in the middle, but were able to play good defense and finished out strong.
All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in this season. Unfortunately, this is our last game that we will be broadcasting of this football year. You can catch the St. John's game in 2 weeks on ESPNU, and we will see you next year